Caviar $1.03. Let's go to a break, and after that break on Wide World of Sports, it's Black Caviar time.
Another big day for Black Caviar. She comes out and the crowds follow. It's getting repetitive, but it's great for you.
Yeah, no, exactly. She's coped with everything once again, and she's paraded tremendous, so really looking forward to it.
A little bit of controversy during the week with regards to the barrier, but I guess for you it all turned out how you would have liked?
Yeah, no, exactly. So, no, we're worrying about what's happening out in the track now, not what happened in the press room.
And good luck today.
Thank you.
Peter Moody there, very confident as always, and why wouldn't he be? He's got Black Caviar.
And Lee, we were just saying how different she looks from every other horse we've seen today, just that air of superiority.
She feels that way now, I would imagine. These great horses, they tend to know when they're as good as they are, and they play up to the crowd, you know.
And the way she moves, Simon, it's just the athletic grace.
It's just a big bear, big brute, big athletic lion that belts everyone up.
Running into bowl in that World Cup one.
Oh, that's the stuff. That's the comparison we were looking for.
Grace, line and leg.
Yes, it couldn't
just
have
got
been
such a way of
further
words,
away.
Now,
Couldn't have been further away.
I guess we should ask Claire, who's got a good view of it all there. How's Heady Angels at the moment, Claire?
He's just over the back away from all of the other horses at the moment, actually. He was a little bit naughty, just jacking up a little bit, but he's a bit relaxed now. Black Caviar has got a little bit warm on her neck, but I suppose when they come out under the tunnel and they cheer for her the way they do, it's bound to get something a bit wound up.
Yep, all right. Well, I don't think that's going to be the difference between winning and losing, but Heady Angels, of course, it'll be interesting to see what does happen. Lee, you reckon that the latest trick is just stand still and let the others jump? That's what he does.
That's been his latest trick, but he's got a very big bag that he can draw on, so anything could happen today.
He's got a box of tricks, and the old Hannibal Lecter.
Mate, he's unbelievable. Just when you think you've got him.
He's been like that from day one, hasn't he, when you had him early
When
doors?
we broke him in, as soon as we took him to the gates, he was a problem. He never had a bad experience there. He's just one of those horses who didn't like it. You know?
And the Tats dividend still $1. $1 in, $1 back.
Yeah.
So
that's great value, I think. Not.
Here we go then. The great mare in action, Heady Angels, the Rogue. It's all set up for some piece of theatre. Let's sit back and enjoy it. Radio Sports National, Greg Miles.
Troublesome galloper. And he has the full attention of the barrier attendants as he takes his place, so they're ready. All set. $1,200 for the Schweppes. Away they go. And Black Caviar jumps away okay. She's up second early with her stablemate showing the way. Doubtful Jack lands a length and a half. Black Caviar second, 2 lengths away, Scenic Blast. Heady Angels jump pretty well for him, and he's about a neck away, and he's running last of the 4. So they make their way towards the first turn, and out in front is Doubtful Jack. He shows the way by 2 lengths. Black Caviar idling along in second. Scenic Blast is a length and a half away. And Heady Angels a neck further back, last of the 4. So the Schweppes field comes down the side. Doubtful Jack the leader. About a length in front of Black Caviar. A length and a half Scenic Blast on the inside. And Heady Angels staying in touch with them as they go by the school. Doubtful Jack the leader. Nolan just slips the great mare a little bit more leather, and she gets up within a neck of the leader. Heady Angels cheekily got up a length and a half third, and Scenic Blast is last, but she takes over the running now, Black Caviar, and kicks away. This is the great exhilaration we come to see. Into the straight she goes, and if you've come to see the greatest, here she is. Black Caviar opening up by about 5 or 6 lengths. 15 straight, she just keeps trotting them out, and she probably hasn't had many easier than that. Black Caviar won it by about 5 on the line. To Doubtful Jack, Heady Angels, and Scenic Blast stayed at the tail.
Wow, that's just extraordinary. When you watch horses day in, day out, Doubtful Jack, Heady Angels, Scenic Blast, they're not slow coaches, but how she just panders past them and wanders past and says goodbye is extraordinary.
Best sprinter I've ever seen, and I've trained a few good ones. She's the best I've ever seen. And it's becoming easier for her because now people are dodging it, you know, and it will become a self-fulfilling prophecy in terms of a winning by big margins now.
So, Lee, we prophesied last week that maybe they'd have to extend her out to 1,400 metres to keep her in quality races and, you know, to add to her great record. You still think that's the picture?
I think she'd run 1,400 on her ear. Whether they need to do that or take her overseas, I think now, personally, for me, if it was my horse, I'd take her overseas. She's got nothing to prove here. She wants to go and show her wares to the rest of the world.
poor old doubtful Jack there. he looked around coming the home turn. So what's this thing? I'm doing my best here.
He's actually run very well.
He did well. He did well.
Oh, he's a group horse.
He is.
He's a group horse, and he just got belted up.
She was cruising. She was so easy.
It must be a great feeling for Luke Nolan, Claire.
Lukey, that's just getting easier and easier, isn't it? That just another track gallop for her today.
Yeah, I'll give her a squeeze just to make sure she takes benefit from it. But she's not getting complacent. Like she's still towing up at the right stages. So like the burning desire's there for her. But look, at probably her last two, we've lacked a little little competition. But what can go wrong in a horse race usually does. So they're not always over the line.
Is that going to be a bit of a worry, the lack of competition turning up? It might get to the point where no one wants to race her. She's so good.
Yeah, it might, but I learned a long time ago you're going to tell a man's wife and every his horse, and they always think that their horses, everyone thinks their own horses can probably beat or test her, you know, like if it comes along. So, look, we'll just enjoy the ride, Claire. We can't take anything. I don't think we could take anything away from her. She's such a terrific horse.
Did you hear that big roar when you come around the corner?
Oh, not really. Game face sign, Claire. So I got 30 seconds to enjoy it going down there before we had a chat. So no, it's magnificent.
Well, you go and enjoy them. They're going to cheer for you again now. Congratulations.
Sure they will. Thanks, Claire.
Well, close to $3.8 million, 15 straight victories, and this crowd appreciates it. It's a big reason why they're here today.
Just hang on, Luke. Stop patting her. Get the other hand on the reins and let them go.
You don't often see horses cheered out onto the track there.
But these scenes, as she races here now, it's becoming the norm. As she turns her home, they cheer. I wonder if the trainer does.
Well, I can relax now, can't he, Tony?
Well, I don't know if he can relax. Do you ever relax? Well, I suppose once she passes the post, but what about through the race?
I'm relaxed to see her come back at one piece, Tone. You know, it looks easy on paper, but I've been around too long to know they're never easy.
I mean, that was a pretty easy race for her, though, wasn't it?
It was soft, but in saying that, she had three group horses behind her. But obviously, you know, the only way you could see her getting beat was misfortune, and thankfully that didn't occur. But that's the bit that always worries me.
Lee Freeman made the observation that, you know, probably things are getting easier for her because she's scaring off the real rivals.
Yeah, well, possibly so, but you know, we can only race what's there, and you know, she's great for racing. She's putting bums on seats. She's taken us places we haven't been for a lot of decades, probably, and that's just tremendous.
Well, the reception was unbelievable. There's no doubt about that, and maybe a similar reception awaiting her at Flemington.
I hope so.
Good on you, Pete. Go and enjoy the moment, because I know some owners are too, Ben.
Yeah, they most certainly are. It's getting a little bit repetitive, but gee, it's brilliant, isn't it? 15 now, and she just keeps getting better and better.
Oh, that was brilliant today. It was breathtaking. I mean, I never breathed the whole way down the straight because I was just taking it all in. It was just amazing, and she's just an amazing horse.
Now, I'll let you watch her as she comes in, and the crowd is about to give her the deserving roar. What's it like when you see your super horse return after a performance like that? You must have an affinity with the horse by now.
Oh, look, when it comes back with 4 legs on and looking pretty fit, it's a big relief, and hopefully now we're onto the Platinac on the last day of the carnival, which has been Peter's aim for the whole preparation.
So a grand final, and it should be another huge day for the people of Melbourne, the people of Australia.
Yeah, well, I hope everyone gets out and sees her at that event, but we're looking forward to that.
Congratulations again, lucky 15.
Thank you very much.
Back to you upstairs, Cameron. Yeah, there's a special mood down here when Black Caviar returns.
Yeah, wherever she'll be racing next, I want to be there, because that was hair-raising, the way that she did that and the way the crowd responded at the top of the straight. When we come back from the break, we'll show you what it was like to be here, just raw sound of a great horse. You're watching the Wide World of Sports here on...
Put on a bit. I think 15.
It's around 4.5 to 5.5 lengths. She might win by 6 today, but he wants her at absolute top, and I want to score 2 after today, Greg.
She's over behind, well, in fact, she's just in front of the gates, which has been the trend to keep her away from the back of the stalls, away from other horses. The barrier blanket's gone on, which means she's about to move in. Luke Nolan on board, Glenn Darrington, the personal barrier attendant, who will travel to Royal Ascot with Black Caviar. Is there. He's got the salmon and black cap on. He's been with her right throughout her career, up inside the barriers. She probably doesn't need that barrier blanket anymore, but who's going to be game enough to take it off her after it's been such a success? They're moving in. Let's get up to Hilton Donaldson for his call of the Goodwood.
So We Hold the Aces connections. We'll take some money home. Outlandish Lad goes in. So we're just about right. Just about set. Streetcar Magic is in. Black Caviar, the cynosure of all eyes. Streetcar Magic, the last one up. $500,000 Group 1, the Goodwood. The runners are all in. They are set to go. Racing. And Catapulted missed the start by a couple of lengths, and Black Caviar was out well. Goes up to eyeball the early leader, Outlandish Lad, and We Hold the Ace, and the Great Mare's going to lead. Streetcar Magic's outside of her, being followed by Go the Knuckle. Catapulted getting along the inside. We're Gonna Rock was wider. There's no pace on it all. Further back came Stands Out towards the tail end of the field as they race on towards the 600. We Hold the Ace, the 300 to 1 outsider. Black Caviar has the neck. Now the body in front. She goes clear. Then Streetcar Magic from Outlandish Lad. Further back came Go the Knuckle. Catapulted along the inside, and Sterling Grove is wider as they make the home turn. Then came out wider on the track We're Gonna Rock at the 350. It's Black Caviar leading about a half length in front of Streetcar Magic. Nolan sits quietly down the outside. We're Gonna Rock's coming home well. Black Caviar 2 in front. We're Gonna Rock's up to second. Sterling Grove goes to third. He hasn't moved on Black Caviar. Black Caviar, the equine superstar of the world, and that's 21 today. Won by a length and a half. We're Gonna Rock was gallant. What a great run. Third, Sterling Grove, 5 away. Fourth,
well, there's no stopping her. Luke Nolan barely moving on the mighty mare. Her 21st victory, $5.9 million now in prize money, 11 Group 1 victories. She is an absolute superstar of the track. And you can catch the highlights of the race on 7 Nightly News at 6 tonight. We'll now take you back to your normal programming.
Bernie Vince, the sub was activated with Rick Henderson being subbed off and Jared Lyons coming on. What can you tell us about Lyons?
Yeah, he's a really strong player.
They run over 7 furlongs. Up the straight, a field of 14 two-year-olds for the Chesham. Stand by, that's it. Ready, they're racing. And away to a fair start on the near side. Hillbilly Boy, one of the first away. Zanetto is up there in the early stages. Fighting for his head, too, is moved to Strike, who now gets a bit of cover in behind horses as the 60s goes on. It's the 60s, the early leader, from up in second place on the near side, Frager. Just in behind them, Zanetto fighting for his head on the near side, followed further back then by Kruk Rialta with a yellow cap. They're followed by Jalar, and then on the near side, Pasaka Boy. Right in the centre is Chilworth Icon. They're followed further back then by Lovely Pass, who's very wide with a white cap. Smothered up behind horses is moved to Strike. Hillbilly Boy on the near side, being tracked all the while by Downright Dizzy, who's giving them a long start. And moved to Strike has dropped right back to about 6 or 7 lengths off the pace as they race now towards the course proper. And the leader is the 60s. From in second, Frager, followed then in third by Kruk Rialta, and behind them being called on for an effort now is at this stage Chilworth Icon. Coming into it too is Lovely Pass under pressure, and now switch to the near side. Move to Strike is running on powerfully. They run up with a furlong and a half to go, and on the far side Lovely Pass takes it up. From in the centre, Kruk Rialta. In the centre too, coming there, Thahir for Godolphin. The first set of the Godolphin Royal Blue sprints into the lead now. It's Thahir, Frankie Dettori lengthening well and coming away. Thahir goes on to win the Chesham in grand style. Kruk Rialta in second. In third then is Lovely Pass. A gap then to Chilworth Icon, and behind them is Moved to Strike. They're followed next in the field then by the 60s. Well back is Frager, Jalar not sighted. They were followed then by Pasaka Boy as well back in the field. FEB, the last to finish. Thahir, another winner for Godolphin in a memorable week for them. They won the Gold Cup, and a 9-2 winner of our first race, Thahir. Thahir goes to the line and wins it by 3.5 lengths approximately. Kruk Rialta, a good run in second. In third then is a Lovely Pass. In fourth, moved to strike, couldn't really get into it at all, gave them a long start. Chilworth Icon in fifth, then the 60s, followed then by Frager, Jalar the far side, Zanetto behind them with a noseband, pulled very hard early. Pasaka Boy is next, a gap to Hillbilly Boy on the near side. They were followed by Downright Dizzy, and then a gap to St. Paul de Vence, who couldn't get into it, and FEB is at the tail of the field. The winner of the Chesham Stakes is number 7, Thaia, ridden by Frank. They're ready, and they're racing in the Hardwick. And a level break too, and Dunedin in the centre was one of the first away. Up there, Sea Moon on the inside, and also going fast too is Aiken to try and get a handy posse. A little bit wider out, in fact, trapped widest of all is Testosterone, looking over Johnny Murder to see if he can get close to the rail. Dunedin on his inside doesn't want to go on. And up there as well as Memphis, Tennessee in the dark blue jacket on the inside. Quest for Pieces trapped very wide. Fiorenti is in behind runners, followed by Sea Moon, the pink cap smothered up in the centre. Further back in the field, then on the inside, Jackalbury. And then further back is Allied Powers. Red Cadeau is settling at the rear of the field in company with Calico Cat. On settling down, Testosterone takes them along as they pass the mile by a length. To in second, Memphis, Tennessee, a length away then is Quest for Peace, edging towards that inside rail. Fiorenti holds the rail. Dunedin's the sandwich, the meat in the sandwich there in the centre, followed further back then by trapped wide Aiken now. Further back then on the inside, Jackalbury. On his outside is Sea Moon as they climb out of a Swinley bottom now. Hunter's Light's gone wide. In behind horses is Red Cadeau, about third last as they start this uphill climb. Then Allied Powers towards the rear, and last is Calico Cat, racing uphill towards the 5, and the leader on the inside is Testosterone by half a length to Memphis, Tennessee. Out very wide is Quest for Peace, and in behind them in the centre, battling away then is Dunedin. Trapped very wide is Aiken, who's made a fast forward move about 5 deep around the field to go up and join the leader. So as they race towards the entrance to the straight in the Hardwick, and it's Testosterone a half length to Aiken, who's swept around the outside now to challenge. Fiorenti's in behind them. Hunter's Light poised, followed by Jackalbury, Sea Moon. Dunedin's gone right out the back door, and Red Cadeau's running on into the home straight now. They've got 2 furlongs left to go, and Aiken's the first to strike for home. He's gone 3 in front, but here's Sea Moon produced on the outside. Sea Moon ranges up and grabs the lead with a furlong and a half to go, and he's starting to power clear. They're clear of Jackalbury running on from Fiorenti, and Red Cadeau battling on with Hunter's Light, but Sea Moon's 4 in front. About 100 yards left to go. It's Sea Moon. It's all Sea Moon as they race up towards the line. Sea Moon's going to win the Hardwick by 3 or 4 lengths. Dunedin got a second wind and ran on for second. In third then Red Cadeau, followed further back then by Aiken and Jackalbury and Fiorenti. They were followed by Hunter's Light, and behind them Allied Powers. Then Calico Cat. Further back is Quest for Peace. And they were followed then by Testosterone and Memphis, Tennessee. 3-1 favourite, the winner. That's number 12, Sea Moon, ridden by Ryan Moore. And didn't he win? Have a look at him. He's gone to the line. He had it won with that burst of speed inside the furlong and a half. He's won it by 3.5 to 4 lengths. Dunedin looked gone coming around the turn and has come again. The staying, the stamina kicking in there, and beats his old foe, Red Cadeau. Finishes ahead of him again. Then in 4th is Aiken. Then in 5th is Jackalbury. Aiken made that sweeping run around the outside. Fiorenti was next. And then a gap to Hunter's Light. Then Allied Powers. Then a gap to Calico Cat, who ran on from last but was a long way from the winner. And there's still 3 more. Quest for Peace, Kieran Fallon right out the back. So too Testosterone crossing the line. And as you can see, long interval to the very last horse. But a happy man, Sir Michael Stout. Sea Moon at 3-1 in favourite. Dunedin 9-2. Red Cadeau 9-1. Distances 3 1/4 lengths and 3/4 of a length. Time 2:29.6. Ryan Moore.
A cheer now as Luke Nolan gets the leg up. Well, a lot of people actually leaving, rushing away from the paddock now to get their vantage point for the race itself. But Willie, you got your first chance to see Black Caviar in the flesh. What did you make of her?
Yeah, she's a big raw filly. She's quite a big, strong girl. She just looks a nice type. Oh, I know how fast she is. I know all that. She's not. I wouldn't put her in the pretty category. She's a big girl. She's very strong. Everything about her moves absolutely lovely, fluently. And she's obviously a freak. And she's a very, very fast horse.
Let's just talk about a couple of others. Interestingly, Moonlight Cloud, who's also a mare. No mare has won this race for 27 years. We expect that to end today.
Of course we do, because Black Caviar is a mare, and she's come all the way to, 12,000 miles all the way from Australia to do that. And we in England, we don't seem to be able to produce, real world-class superstar sprinters.
No. What about Moonlight Cloud, though? She's trained by your old pal, Freddie Head.
Yes.
She was very good last year. She put up a stunning performance in France.
Yeah, he's expecting her to be finishing. She's actually a 7-furlong horse, but he's hoping that the stiff 6 here will help her and she will be finishing. He's hoping she doesn't get too far behind too early, because she will be one that's finishing.
Well, Moonlight Cloud is the main danger in the market to the Black Caviar, the favourite.
And the other problem is she's thrown on the opposite side of the course.
And another cheer as Black Caviar comes out onto the course. Her trainer, Peter Moody, shadowing her moves. And Paddy Bell, who's leading her up, not going to let go of her head until Luke Nolan says he is absolutely ready. They've even shipped over their own stalls handler, who's been with her for most of her runs. He actually missed a couple of them, and she reared up on one of those occasions. So Glenn Darrington is his name, and he's come over from Racing Victoria and will be down at the start to meet her. He's a former jockey, rode in the Melbourne Cup. And she just breaks into a trot there. And it's interesting, everybody around the paddock saying she doesn't look as if she's heavier than Denman, but as Peter Moody said in his interview with Jim, she must have incredibly strong bone density, and her bones must be heavy, which is an excuse I always use, but, heavy bones. But as she breaks into a canter and Luke Nolan takes his position, and she looks absolutely fine. And there's a youngster dressed in those colours, the salmon and black colours of Black Caviar, and just huge excitement all around this racecourse, because there has been so much media attention on this horse. I cannot remember an occasion, and obviously particularly in Australia and indeed in America, CNN were covering her, and in the Middle East, and the Australian flags everywhere. Well, let's see what price she is now, and if anything else is being touched down in the betting ring.
No, Claire, she's a 1-to-6 shot, Black Caviar. It's 5-to-1 for Moonlight Cloud, 10-to-1 for Society Rock. Krypton Factor's a 16-to-1 shot, 20-to-1 for Pastoral Player. The Checker 25s and Soul 32-to-1. But I've not heard anything like it down here. There's an air of anticipation like I've never had before.
Well, she has travelled 10,496 miles, and now she has 3/4 of a mile in front of her to confirm her superstardom. This is Black Caviar's British date with destiny.
Black Caviar leading. Black Caviar, she's unbeaten. What a champion she is.
She can run unbelievable sections up front. She can break them up mid-race. She can unbelievable turn of foot after travelling so fast.
The crowd starts to applaud already. This is why she's rated the best in the world. That's it for Australian fans before she conquers the world.
She's got an unbelievable attitude. She's got a great will to win, but she's just got so much power.
Black Caviar, perfect.
She can't do any more here in Australia. She doesn't go as hard or as fast as other horses, but her movement allows her to cover more ground.
And the wonder from down under wins again.
Peter Moody and Luke Nolan will be the taste of Royal Ascot. And I'd be lying if I didn't feel a pressure there to keep this unbelievable record.
The equine superstar of the world.
Peter Moody has got something to prove over there. We can make a name for ourselves here.
There's never been a definitive line there from the Poms to say, yes, you are the best. She's got to go over there and prove it, but go over there and prove it she will.
The wonder from down under, and her trainer, Peter Moody, with his Royal Enclosure badge. They've been changed for this year. I think he's feeling the nerves, but trying to keep himself calm with a quick smoker. And Black Caviar there striding out. Down at the start in the foreground there, Frankie Dettori, he is on an interesting horse for Godolphin, and obviously we've seen them have a winner already today. He rides Soul, and it's Saeed bin Sarour's yard that is hitting form now. Now, this horse was a good winner over this trip on turf at Meydan, used to be trained by Peter Snowden, and then finished last in the Golden Shaheen behind Krypton Factor, so he's got to turn around that form, mate.
Yeah, satisfactory run at York, when he's held here by the Cheka, especially on that particular run. But like you said, Claire, the blue of Godolphin coming into form.
And none of the other jockeys will be holding back at all, and Moonlight Cloud is the second choice in terms of the betting, and therefore the leading European hope in this, trained in France by Freddie Head, who had that Wondermare Goldacova. He has a very fine touch with fillies, and Willie, you know, I talked to George Strawbridge, I mean, they're realistic about it. They say, well, probably the Australian's going to win this, everybody thinks so, but, you know, they're running...
Yes, unfortunately, she's drawn away from Black Caviar, and she's a filly who would actually be better over a little bit longer distance. She's a 7 furlong filly, but they're expecting the ground and the speed of this race, and she will be the filly who will be finishing. She'll be coming home at the finish. She won't be up there with them. She will be held up, and he's hoping that they'll come and get some place money.
Quick look at Society Rock, last year's winner. Again, James Fanshawe, another one who's being realistic. He says their big hope is that it's here, that it's at Ascot. He was second in this race in 2010 and won it last year.
Yeah, when you get a horse that likes it here at Ascot, you know, it really is a massive advantage. And the fact that this horse is drawn near Black Caviar in 13 will also mean that Johnny Murty will be able to keep his eye on her.
Just in the foreground, the checker just getting his girth checked, and Tom Queally getting a leg up back into the saddle. He's been a bit of a star for Eve Johnson-Horton and seems better than ever this year.
She's brought him back to 6 furlongs. She was running him a little bit further in 7 furlong races. Now she's running him at 6, and he seems to be very consistent now.
There's a better shot there of the checker, and Tom Queally, who will forever be known as Frankel's jockey. Lucky, lucky man.
This is exciting.
It is, isn't it?
I wonder how fast his heart is beating, Luke Nolan.
Oh, I mean, better now, don't you think, that he's in the saddle?
Oh, without a shadow of doubt. It's the one thing, like Willie will tell you as well. As soon as you leave that weighing room, you just want to get on with it.
Well, you can see there Glenn Darrington, the stalls handler that they've specially brought over, and he's even got the Black Caviar colours on his cap. Everything has been thought of, because she's like a movie star. And she has security with her, and even the owner, when I said, oh, can we have a quick interview, he said, who are you with? I said, BBC Television. I thought, please don't say no.
Where they are now, Claire, down at the start there, it's very quiet. It's very, very quiet. It's like being in the middle of the heath on your own. It's it's calming, as it were. You see.
Yeah, but the amazing thing about it all, Willie, and I've noticed all the way through the day, she is not in the slightest bit phased by any of this.
Life. It's all good horses, you get this. The real superstars, like Franco, life to them is so easy. When they gallop, they're going half speed. Others are huffing and puffing, but she's never, ever been put under pressure. So possibly that's why that she just thinks, oh, here we go again, I'm going to go for a canter.
They even moved an Aussie rules match, football match, because of Black Caviar. They didn't want to clash their big sport with her performing. And although here in the UK we are far more football obsessed than we are...
the England game.
Exactly, imagine them saying, oh, you know, European Championship quarter-final, we don't want to clash with Black Caviar.
What they're doing in that square in Melbourne at the moment.
This is Krypton Factor, a horse I've mentioned in passing because of his form with other horses, a high-class sprinter on the Tappeta surface, the all-weather surface in Meydan this year. He's won there 3 times and won the Golden Shaheen on Dubai World Cup night. Trained in Bahrain by Fawzi Nas. And you know, Willie, that Fawzi Nas is really out to try and topple Black Caviar.
Yes, he's a trainer. He's been trying to do a bit of sledging on about the Aussies, and he's a trainer who is I believe, I'm not certain about this, but I believe he's trying to buy a stable to train in Newmarket. So it'd be a new name to be training in Newmarket. And hasn't Newmarket been doing so well recently? The last, 9 races here at Royal Ascot have been won by Newmarket trained horses.
Black Caviar just having the rug fitted to make sure that her sides are protected. Peter Moody looking on And he just wants this race to be underway. We're not many minutes away from start, and everybody just wants it to be off and running, because it won't take long once those stalls open. But that rug would just protect her while she's in the stalls, and then it'll get left behind as she jumps out. And having looked at some of her races, Willie, you were looking at them from the helicopter shot above the stalls to see how fast she is.
And you know, she's such a big, strong mare. I don't know which race meeting it was in Australia, but there was a shot of her coming out the stalls with all the other runners. And she is a big thing. She came out first. And of course, she comes out first, and the jockey eases it back to come back to the others, and they're huffing and puffing trying to get to her. And of course, she's phenomenal.
Just to repeat, she has won 21 races in a row. Every race she's run in, she has won 11 of those at Group 1 level, but this is her first race outside Australia. And it's the journey here, it's the different situation, it's the different course, and it's everything associated with taking herself halfway around the world that is her biggest challenge. And Peter Moody has made it very clear he doesn't think there's an awful lot to gain, there's everything to lose, but what there is to gain is a global standing, an international spotlight on her.
Most of the people that are here today, Claire, they want to see her. All the jockeys riding this race want to see how good she is.
And she's slotting into stall 15. She will be closest to the stand, so she could go all on her own, keep away from all the other runners if she wants to. She gets a friendly pattern, ruffle of the hair then from Glenn Darrington. And it's nearly time for the Diamond Jubilee, part of the Global Sprint Challenge. And we have a global sprinting superstar at the head of our market. She's going to go off an odds-on favourite, 6-1 on, and it's 5-1 bar. Society Rock last year's winner goes forward. Here's Jim.
So, Melbourne Cup is a race that stops the nation. This is a mare that has two nations agog. And there's the scene in Melbourne, everybody watching. They're loading up the last few. Cheers from the crowd as Black Caviar is installed safely. A couple of them are getting restless. Moonlight Cloud is going to go forward now. This is her biggest challenge here at Royal Ascot, the Diamond Jubilee Stakes. Starter holding them. Society Rock is just rearing. A couple of them very edgy. Set. They're racing in the Golden Jubilee. And Black Caviar's got away to a good start. Society Rock began badly. Soul is going to be the early leader. Out in the centre, Black Caviar travelling on the near side, getting a lead from Bogart. Out in the centre, Jimmy Styles, followed by Escalave. And further back then is Restia d'Argent. Moonlight Cloud takes up a position in the middle of the field from the checker. Pastoral Player is further back in the field. They're followed then by Krypton Factor. Red Rock is out the back and company with Jenky. Then Serious Prospect, who's at the tail of the field as they race up now towards halfway. And Soul the leader from Bogart. And now Black Caviar ambling up on the near side in third. They're a length to Escalave, followed by Krypton Factor and Jimmy Styles and Restia d'Argent. And further back is Jenky. But as they come up now onto the course proper, 2 furlongs left to go. Soul is the leader. Now Nolan starts to shake the reins at Black Caviar. She starts to move up on the near side. She draws level now with a furlong left to go. Now he says go on the mare. She gets about a half length in front of Soul. Restia d'Argent, Moonlight Cloud coming home fast, but it's Black Caviar in front with 100 yards left to go. Here's Restia d'Argent and Moonlight Cloud. He eases up near the line. Here's Moonlight Cloud. It's tight. Black Caviar and Moonlight Cloud in a photo. In third then Restia d'Argent, followed by Soul. Further back is Krypton Factor, and then Serious Prospect back in the field from Society Rock. Bogart the last to finish. He has eased near the line, and this is tight. This is very, very tight indeed. Black Caviar flashing home down the outside, Moonlight Cloud, as they race towards the line. Oh, she might have just got the bobbin. She's got there. She has scraped home. She has got there by a nostril. The winner is number 11, Black Caviar, and the cheers of the crowd and the relief of Peter Moody. He will not be a happy man. Luke Nolan will have a look at it again near the line. this is the reaction in Melbourne, in Federation Square. A cheer from the crowd as they know now that Black Caviar has scraped home in the closest of finishes to the Diamond Jubilee Stakes. There is Black Caviar. Look at Luke Nolan riding so confidently near the line, but look at the swoop down the outside from these two. He's riding so confidently as they get towards the line, but Moonlight Cloud in the white, and in the centre, Restia d'Argent. The two French horses are swooping, and as they hit the line, it's Black Caviar by a short head. Ahead officially, a neck between second and third. The 1, 2, 3 is first, number 11, Black Caviar, Luke Nolan. Second, number 12, Moonlight Cloud, Thierry Janet. Third, number 15, Restia d'Argent, Maxime Dion. And fourth is number 9, Sol, Frankie Dettori. It's ahead by a neck, and the time 1:14.10. She started 6-1 on favourite, 5-1 Moonlight Cloud, 40-1 about Restia d'Argent. They are the British bookmakers' prices. And Luke Nolan and Peter Moody. And there is the photo. Luke has realised close home that they were closing, and they came from the clouds. And he shakes the reins at Black Caviar, and she has scraped home. The alarm was going off, I'd say, about 30 yards from the line. And this fantastic mare has now won 22 races in a row, 22 straight. She has won the Diamond Jubilee at Royal Ascot in the Queen's Diamond Jubilee year. And Luke Nolan takes her down the track, and in front of this enormous crowd, a crowd of about 80,000 here at Royal Ascot today. He has cantered her down the track, and they will be fully appreciative of that. Down in the silver ring, down in the grandstand enclosure, and then he'll trot back in front of the members. But I would say the relief of connections would be enormous, and also the relief of the jockey, because when he watches that again on replay, he will have his heart in his mouth. He won't sleep for a week.
And he's not the only one who had his heart in his mouth. The whole nation did. A whole crowd here at Ascot held their breath because they thought that this supermare had been caught on the line. And for all of them watching in Federation Square in Melbourne, a huge sigh of relief and a cheer went up when the result was confirmed. And Peter Moody had said he didn't mind if he only won by half an inch, but I thought he was joking. Maybe Luke Nolan took him at his word, because, Willie, that was extraordinary.
I got a little bit too confident, did Luke. He's been winning, you know, sort of easy all the time down in Australia, but here obviously she's travelled a long way. She's possibly not as good as she normally is, but she is the best. You know, she has been the best on the day, and there's a lot of relief that the photograph went that way, because if it hadn't gone that way, I'm afraid the jockey, the rest of his life would have been not very nice, because he looked as though he just took it a little bit too easy. Instead of just having a little peek to see whether the other horses were, he just sort of went up to the last quarter of furlong and just hands and heels, very quiet.
Well, let's have another look at it, because I'm sure many people will have been rewinding going, what happened there? And it was almost, he didn't want to get serious with her. He doesn't want to give her a hard race because the travelling that she's done, and because they want to go elsewhere in the world and try and win another of these global sprint races. But Willie, he almost pulls up last sort of 8 strides.
Look, he is pushing her out there. He's got his stick waving. He gave her a little tap there, backhander, another little backhander, and oh, he's flicked her a few times, and obviously now he's sort of keeping her balanced. He hasn't stopped. He stops riding now, and he's yeah.
All right. Let me ask you an honest question. Has he mistaken the winning line?
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll wait and see what he says when he gets back. But he did actually stop riding there for a stride or two.
And you can see there the conflicted emotions of all of those associated with Black Caviar as they thought, oh my word, she's been caught. And then the jubilation when it is confirmed that she has not been caught. She's hung on and she has won the Diamond Jubilee. May it please your Majesty, your Royal Highnesses, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in the UK and everyone in Australia. She has travelled halfway around the world, defending an unbeaten record. She has hung on. It may have been tight, but she has won her 22nd race. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Diamond Jubilee, Black Caviar.
Hasn't gone according to script, but the result is what everybody wanted. She's won it officially by a head, and the time was 1.91 of a second outside the record. So it's been an amazing performance in the ground under the circumstances. But Luke Nolan will be going back over that, and he'll be looking over and over again and ask him just why he is. So there she is. She's relaxed. I don't think there's anybody else here who's very relaxed. But whether he actually mistook the winning post or whether he was confused, I don't know. Or maybe too confident. Let's have another look. Look at him. He's riding hands and heels. He's still riding out now. But look at these two on the outside closing. Moonlight Cloud and Restia d'Argent. And now he eases. But there's still quite a few strides to go. Well, now he gets the response from the mare. And he has just fallen in. The interview will be interesting. But there is the mare, this great mare, this outstanding mare who has capped the most fantastic week here at Royal Ascot. We've had Frankel's 11-length demolition in the on the first day. We've had Frankie Dettori winning the Gold Cup. We've had So You Think winning the Prince of Wales Stakes. We've had the Queen having a win, and there is Her Majesty who's down there to see this mare herself. Well, what a fantastic compliment to Peter Moody, to this great mare, that Her Majesty has come down herself to see her in the flesh. A magnificent moment, and a great moment for Australian racing, for Australian sport. Luke Nolan coming over. This great partnership. He's been aboard for the majority of her wins. Missed the first couple, he missed another one under suspension. Anyway, sighs of relief all round, and I'd say those who laid the long odds on breathing the biggest sighs of relief. As Luke Nolan steps onto the scales, let's check the full details with John.
Well, you're certainly right there, Jim. The punter had £100,000 on to win 20,000. He had his heart in his mouth, that's for sure. Black Caviar wins the Diamond Jubilee Stakes, the 1-6 favourite. Second was Moonlight Cloud at 5-1, and third Restia d'Argent at 40-1.
Well, Jim mentioned that Luke Nolan will watch this a few more times, and he will, but this is the bit he won't mind seeing. The fact that she did pick up again for him when he asked, and that Moonlight Cloud just couldn't close fast enough. And on the line, she was still a nose in front. He gives Peter Moody a big kiss there. The gamble paid off. The gamble to come here. The owners were the ones that wanted to do it, and the Queen has come down to greet the horse. Let's hear now from the winning trainer and jockey with Richard.
Well, without doubt, the first question, I think 17 million Australians and 100,000 people nearly here at Ascot want to know, Luke, what happened in the closing stages?
I probably just underestimating the testing track of Ascot. I was kind of late, and she'd had enough, and the big engine throttled right down. It's quite unfortunate because it's going to overshadow what was a very good win. They're going to talk about more about my brain fade than the horse's fantastic effort.
Do you feel that prior to that she had shown the superiority that you expected?
Yeah, she did, but like I said, I underestimated the testing straight 6 years, so pilot error, but we got away with it.
Got away with it. Peter, what were your thoughts in the closing stages?
You've only got to win by a quarter of an inch. That's what we're prepared to come here and win by, and we've got the job done.
The way she travelled through the race, everything was going to plan. Was there ever a moment in the closing stage where you thought it wasn't quite as dominant as you would have expected?
We never expect dominance. We've never asked her for dominance. She gets the job done. We're more concerned about her next run than we are today. So we're extremely proud of her. She's 22 for 2022. It's never been about margins. It's never been about dominance.
Heard you talking before the race about the fact that as a sportsman you never get a chance to represent Australia. This is your chance to don the baggy green today, so how proud are you of what's happened today?
I'm an extremely proud Aussie. You know, words can't describe the feel. Just to be here and take it all in, it's an unbelievable feel, and it's very befitting that it's with a horse like this.
And the moment that you led her up to meet Her Majesty the Queen, what was that like?
Something I never thought I'd experience. No, it was quite overwhelming. There's no doubt Your Majesty is certainly a horse lover, and the two queens of Australia, maybe.
And Luke, are you going to be able to enjoy this eventually?
Oh, look, I will. Look, shit, we won. Doesn't matter, does it? Look, but I think it may overshadow what was a fantastic job by the horse. You know, take my hat off. This little bloke here, Tony, Hayden, and Paddy Bell. They looked after the whole time at Newmarket, and she's done a fantastic job. So I think hopefully my performance hasn't overshadowed what was a great effort by the whole team.
Oh, Peter, give him a hug. Well done.
Team effort.
Well, Luke Nolan being pretty hard on himself there on the PA mic as well, so basically admitting his fault to everybody as the journalists now crowd around Peter Moody to get more of a reaction. Black Caviar took a full circuit of the paddock, and people taking final photos of her and applauding her as she goes away now, and I'm sure they will be heading to Hong Kong. There's a £1 million bonus for any horse that can win 3 races in the Global Sprint Series in 3 different countries, so Australia, the UK, and then either Hong Kong or Japan. There's one in Japan as well coming up.
There's a horse in Newmarket, Claire, that won't be that bothered, you know.
Who's that?
Franco.
That's true. He won't. And Her Majesty the Queen makes the presentation for the Diamond Jubilee to the winning owners, Gary and Kerry Wilkie and Neil Werrett, and all of the other owners, 10 owners of Black Caviar. And in fact, it looks as if the female members of the winning partnership will do the honours as they lift now the Diamond Jubilee trophy. And a fantastic success for them. And although Luke Nolan clearly still asking himself questions and apologising, the main thing is, as Peter Moody said, they came here and they won. And her unbeaten record remains intact.
Which is absolutely marvellous. 22 straight wins.
It's a modern-day record. She extends her modern-day record.
And she is an amazing. After the race, as you were saying, she walked around the paddock here, and she was getting a cheer all the way around. She didn't bother a bit. She is a really relaxed filly. Mare, anyway.
A huge cheer goes up for Peter Moody, and he follows in the footsteps of the great trainers who have come here, taken on the challenge of bringing horses from Australia to Royal Ascot, and have been successful. And Choisier set the target, or set the mark, and managed to win 2 in the same week. And Luke Nolan as well gets warm felt applause. And I tell you what, when punters can still collect, they forgive pretty quickly. If he got caught, different story, but he didn't.
Job done.
You look back at Choisier in 2003, and we've seen takeover targets since then for Joe Janiak. They all said this was the best sprinter that had ever come, better than Scenic Blast or any of the other Australian winners. of either the King's Stand or the Diamond Jubilee, but we did not see her at her best today.
I don't think we saw her at her best, because all our sprinters were within 5 lengths of her there at the finish, and the jockey was saying that he underestimated the stiffness of this racecourse, because in Newton in Australia the racecourses are lovely flat and they nearly always run on fastish ground.
Well, the jockey that got closest to catching them was Thierry Janet. He was on board Moonlight Cloud, who finished second, beaten in that photo finish. And as the Queen poses for photographs with the owners of Black Caviar and her trainer, Peter Moody, and I suspect she's saying, did you wonder if you won? Everybody held their breath. Thierry Janet, though, kept pushing for the line. Let's hear his reaction. He finished second on Moonlight Cloud.
Thierry Janet on Moonlight Cloud. Did you think you'd got him?
Yes, this very happy for my my Polish, my filly, very courageous, and just a nose for the finish. The best in France.
Were you surprised when Luke Nolan stopped riding?
No. Not surprised today, and good chance normally. Yeah, the best in the Australian filly.
Nearly.
Yeah.
Almost. Well done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
What happens when the world's most famous road meets one of the world's funniest men?
Biggest rocking chair in the whole world. It doesn't...
Barrier against this cracking field before a full house here. It was a house full sign. You couldn't buy a ticket in the last day leading into Royal Randwick today for the Darley TJ Smith Hamish. We've been waiting a long time for this moment. It has arrived.
It has, Bruce. You talked about the setting. The shadows are longer, and just along this rail next to the barriers there'd be 100 people with iPads and cameras and iPhones, and then behind the trees here on the road there'd be another couple of hundred just getting a glimpse of this wonderful mare. And it's not just how she looks today. She looks, as she always does, just terrific, but she represents everything that is great about sport. She's so humble. She's such a champion. She doesn't showboat or offend, and the story is so likeable, isn't it? I mean, you've got this knockabout Queensland trainer who just enjoys the moment, the shy, humble jockey, and the owners who share her, and then this amazing mare that refuses to lose. So again, she'll be the one that everyone is cheering for. And as you know, Macca, we live in a very uncertain world. There's no such thing as a certainty in racing, but gee, she's close.
Yep, well, Pete Moody from Wyandra, 840k west of Brisbane, and Luke Nolan from Menangatang, that's where he started off. Has the money come, Tom? Are the big punters behind her today?
No, the money, there has been money for Black Caviar now. She's the 116. There's more money for her than any other horse, obviously, but the biggest bet I've taken so far is only 150,000 on her at the 116. Normally in a race like this, when she's $1.04, $1.05, there's 500,000, 800,000 unlimited for her. But the big money hasn't come for her today. I can't believe it personally. I've got the price up there, I'm betting it, but I just think it's a crazy price. She's beaten all these horses before. Epaulet, as Richard said before, it's the only other horse that there's been significant money for. A bloke had a very big bet to place on number 11 Epaulet, but Black Caviar is obviously the market mover.
Thanks, Tom.
Now, this is what she's not used to, folks, at home, is walking into barrier 1 and then waiting for everybody else to fill their barriers, every other thoroughbred horse to fill their barriers. So she does get agitated. She has got agitated before and again.
Well, there's Raina Fair, who'll probably lead. Let's go to Mark Sheen. His call of the Darley TJ Smith Stakes.
Atomic Force and on the lookout. They're just about ready. All in. Stand by, they're off and racing. And Bell Sprinter came out last of all. Black Caviar began well. Rain Affair was the best into stride. How much do you love me going up on the outside? Nolan's bringing Black Caviar along the inside to settle down in third spot. Followed by Decision Time. Hayless was out a little bit wider. Atomic Force just up in front of it. Followed by Tidal and Sea Siren. Bell Sprinter saving ground. Now he's railing up onto the back of Black Caviar. Followed further back by Epaulet. And on the lookout last of all, Nolan trying to get away from the inside to avoid being boxed up here. And the leader, Rain Affair, led from Haylist on the outside. Black Caviar in the centre. And How Much Do You Love Me on the inside of them. Followed by Bell Sprinter. He's worked up to midfield. Followed by Decision Time. And then Tidal Atomic Force. Followed by Sea Siren Epaulet. And further back on the lookout, Rain Affair.
kicked away at the stop of the straight. Nolan asking the mare to come after him now, and in a heartbeat she raced up and hit the lead. She's giving Sydney some of the black magic, and look at her go, Black Caviar. She raced away. She's going to set a new Group 1 record in Australia. She's truly in a league of her own. Black Caviar racing away from Epaulet. Black Caviar doesn't let us down. Beat Epaulet, third home Bill Sprinter, and then Rain Affair, Seasiren decision time, followed further back by How Much Do You Love Me, and then Total Atomic for Payless, and last in was On the Lookout.
Race in lanes in Sydney, we know that. She was tested early, and when she let down, she was magnificent. 25 out of 25. Perfection personified again. Breaks Kingston Town's record. 15 Group 1s. Does a lot in one day. Late, almost evening, at Royal Randwick.
Everything didn't go to plan today. She didn't jump away quite as well as she has done before. They got up around her and they tried to push her in against the fence again, but she was too big and too strong. She pushed them out of the way. At the top of the straight, Luke Nolan was exactly where he wanted to be. And then by halfway down the straight, she just opened up the afterburner and away she went again. That's the Black Caviar we know.
What I loved about it was, it beautifully summed up Richard, was that he jumped, okay, wasn't the best out, but she's a big girl, takes a couple of strides. He travelled really well until the 800 metre mark, just before we crossed to Hamish. When Haylis came across, bumped her a couple of times. There was a bit of a hello, how you going? And then it was all over, bar the shouting. Hamish will try and jostle his horse to get up to Lukey Nolan. One of the greatest moments in thoroughbred racing. Let's cross to Hamish.
I think Simon, 15 Group 1s, she deserved that, didn't she?
Sure did, you know. She's a special horse. And yeah, words escape me. I'm not a wordsmith or a very well educated man by any stretch, but she genuinely touches me.
When did you realise you jumped on a horse that was going to change your life and this sport forever?
I don't know, when the pressure kept getting bigger, I suppose, you see what she means to racing, and it's just, to be part of it, just blows you away.
You talk about the pressure. Everyone assumes she's going to win. Bad luck or misfortune will get her beaten, but you have the pressure of making sure that never happens. Does it get too much? Is it relief more than joy now?
It is relief. It's been relief for about 14 runs, but look, you enjoy it. But I'm the first one. I'm going to be hung if she gets beat, so I've got to make sure I do my job extra well when I'm on her, you know, and you just got to have the faith. I have a great deal of faith in this mare, and she continues to make Peter and myself look very, very good.
If making a movie, who would you want to play Luke Nolan?
Someone with a big nose and someone with not a great deal of ability, because they'll square me off lovely there.
And if you're going to have a drink with her after it was all over, what would you say to her?
I don't know. See, you put me on the spot for one-liners, and I'm going to stuff it up for the telecast, aren't I? But
you didn't stuff up the ride. It was wonderful to see.
That's it. That's jockeys. They shouldn't have to come up with one-liners that are memorable. Race spoilers do that.
You've come up with 15 Group 1s. Enjoy it.
Will do. Thanks, Hamish.
So she makes her way back, and there'll be a mighty roar. It was a brilliant ride, it really was. As the boys said, he was under great pressure today. Just the scenes of the people running along outside on the road, just getting a shot. It's just great. People on people's shoulders. It's what it's all about.
It's like the Queen's here, or the Pope's here, or Bono's here.
Yeah, Luke Nolan's never cried coming back to scale. Today means so much more than any other ride and any other victory.
Look how close they get to the fans. second time in Sydney. Neil Werrett, the principal owner, owns 50% of the horses. It's his hometown. So really great moment here with the owners. Neil there, about to lead her in, I reckon. He doesn't do it very often. He's played such a huge role, in fact, in this mare all the way through. He wanted her to come back to Sydney, and this is his moment with his mare and his jockey and his trainer waiting. It's the Olympic gold medalist slap of honour, this sort of stuff, isn't it?
Oh, look, the emotion, it's got to be surreal for the team, but they're with their girl. They're with Luke now. Luke will be just saying, well, we've done it. It was a magnificent ride. Congratulations to the strapper.
This is the sort of thing that money can't buy, money can't replace. The feelings and of pride those people have, that is a feeling that they can't replace with anything else.
I just remember Kathy Freeman getting ready to run for gold. I remember Mike Tyson going through his run of undefeated fights. This is bigger and better for me because I'm an industry person in racing. It's the ultimate.
I apologise. From the darkness of the tunnel to the bright lights of the theatre of dreams, eh? That's what she's about to walk into now. And we may be seeing a horse that never loses a race. I mean, she's getting so close.
That's a roar she's going to get when she comes back to the theatre of the horse.
This may be the last time the Sydney crowd gets to cheer her home.
I was just thinking, has any stadium had a bigger name on opening night than Royal Randwick today? I mean, the opening of the new Royal Randwick, and they've got the biggest star of them all.
It's like opening the Opera House and getting Pavarotti to sing.
So humble. You know, a lot of horses will hate the crowd, the atmosphere, all this sort of business, but she just does her thing.
Say, we were there when. Everybody here today is going to be saying that. There's Peter Moody and Luke Nolan together. Shake of the hand.
No star jumps from Luke. That's not his go. No backflips, no somersaults, none of that. I've got my job done. One thing he will do with Pete tonight is they'll sit down, they'll have a VB, and they'll have a laugh, a hug and a cry.
Yeah, from Manangatang, he went up to Dalby in Queensland and got his career going. He had a shocking fall in Queensland, Luke, about 4 years ago. He had, I think, 7 plates in his face. He had brain bruising and all of that. Fell from a horse up there, and he's made a fantastic recovery. He's got a 4-year-old kid, a boy and a 1-year-old daughter. Alicia, his wife's an absolute beauty. They're a great, great family.
Yeah, the racing public don't need histrionics or theatrics with this. They know what they're seeing here. They know they're seeing greatness.
So Peter Moody with Peter Donegan again, Pete.
Yes, Bruce, it's an amazing feeling down here. The reception she got as she came back into the theatre of the horse. You look to be the calmest person here.
Oh, listen, I get to enjoy her every day. It's I just get great pleasure out of seeing other people and enjoy her, and for her to bring a show to Randwick, it's terrific. The great crowd have really taken to her here today, as has been the case everywhere she's gone. But it's you know, extra special. It's a bit of a homecoming for me. I know I'm a Queensland boy, but this is where I learnt most of my craft and worked for the great TJ for a lot of years. So to win a race named in his honour, the same as was a couple of years ago, it's special for all of us.
And what about to eclipse Kingston Town in front of the Sydney crowd as well?
Oh, listen, I don't think that's to be compared. You know, I'm extremely proud of her holding that record, but you know, he's to be enjoyed for what he was, and her in her own right also. So, you know, it's just tremendous. It's a tremendous feel.
The decisive move, Pete, came probably 300 metres after the start. Luke got her out 2 or 3 away from the rail, got her out into the clean air, and that was that.
Yeah, no, lovely ride by Luke. It was always our plan to come out and be 6 or 7 deep in the straight, and we just thought the inside was a bit inferior, and even though she probably was good enough to overcome it, we didn't need to try that.
Just as I ask you the next question, look around at this, the Theatre of the Horse. First time I've been here. Some of these people have been here for an hour and a half, 2 hours, just to get a glimpse of it. Must make you very proud.
Well, there's people outside the stall at 9:30 this morning, the gatekeepers were telling me, so it just shows how much she's admired. But just to look at this, and the ATC and John Cornish and Darren and all his team have been truly congratulated. It's been a great day's racing. Let's not take away from an unbelievable Derby winner early in the day, and it's done deal. You'll go a long way to find a smarter 3-year-old than that, but just a tremendous day's racing, full stop.
On behalf of all Australian sports lovers, congratulations, but more importantly, thank you.
Thank you, and thanks to everyone that's come out and enjoyed my little girl.
Good on you, mate.
Cheers.
Good on you, Pete. Both the Pete's there. So, a job well done, eh? She's tired. You expect that. She's SP'd at $1.14. It's the longest price she's been for over 2 years here in Australia. $1.10, $1.20, $1.10. Epilec, terrific run, second, first up. Bell Sprinter at $2. And Rainer Fair was fourth, 154.40, and Tom's top dib was $1.20, $1.20 for Black Caviar. So 25 out of 25, and those 15 Group 1 wins.
It'll be a good trivia question. Who ran second? The Black Caviar in the TJ Smith when she broke the all-time record for Group 1 wins.
Luke's spent in there. Have a look at him. He's exhausted. A lot of emotion.
I think it's emotionally exhausted. He's a fit rider. The ride hasn't exhausted him. It's just the emotion has exhausted him.
Donna wasn't going to come up the strapper, but she has, which is great. She's been with the horse for most of her great wins.
I've known Donna for over 20 years. She worked for me for a long time, and she's strapped many nice horses, but none like this.
Well, it was a battle. She won easily. Right here, she was in the right spot. Haylis was going to struggle a bit. Rainer Fair was sort of high balling. Epilec was a long way back. This is where Luke really asked her to go, and go she went. She was in the fast lane, and away she went.
It was full steam ahead today. There was no bars hold. There was nothing to keep up your sleeve, Luke. There was nothing to leave in the tank for Black Caviar. Today it was just all on for young and old. It was the build-up, it was the talk of the jockeys, it was the talk of the trainers, of the competitors in this race. We're going to take you on. You've drawn barrier 1. We're going to make life difficult for you. Let's see what you've got. Well, Luke, congratulations to ride her the way you did, to give her that opportunity to get some breathing space.
Tell you what I love. This is Black Caviar going at her top. We don't see it all that often, her going at her top, but she's going flat out here.
No, you're right. There's nothing in the tank, but it can't be against these horses. These are Group 1 winners, more than half the field Group 1 winners. They're the best sprinters we've got in Australia. And she was able to beat them by a widening margin. I mean, Epilec was probably the only horse that was sort of hanging on to her over the last 200, 300 metres. It was probably a margin of around 3.5 lengths.
And to people that are watching at home, she is quite a freak of nature. She's 16 two hands, which is quite a tall horse, and she races at 580 kilos. Average weight would be around the 500 to 520 kilos. So she is a big machine. She intimidates most of the blokes, most of the boys that she races against. She is a freak of nature.
No doubt about that. And everything that's been put in front of her, she's been able to withstand all the challenges so far. What the future holds, don't know. I mean, they'll decide next week. Probably Brisbane for the BTC Cup, maybe Royal Ascot, maybe back to Flemington in the spring, and then Royal Ascot the next year. I think Peter would like to get to 30. She's on 25. He's mentioned that. I think as a trainer he wants her to go on because she's in such fine fettle. But there's always that risk that she might undo the unbeaten streak, and we go to the world once too often. That's the fine line, isn't it, between what happens next week and in the future.
It's the pressure that mounts with every run. Will this be the one that breaks the streak?
How long, and you know, for the group of owners and Peter, it's all about her health and safety. If she's safe and sound, and she's at a brilliant best right now, she's doing what she loves. She's doing what she loves, and she's doing it better than any other horse. So until there's another freak that comes along while she's at her best, she can continue to win her merry way.
I don't think you'll see in our lifetime anyway. We'll never see a mare like that again.
We'll never see a horse win 25 out of 25.
No.
It won't happen. It's never happened before, except that a Hungarian mare did it in the 18th century, but 19th century. It's not going to happen again. Well, 21 years ago, the Queen came here to Randwick and endorsed Royal Randwick. We've had 3 popes conduct masses here over the years. John Paul and Benedict. Well, today we've seen a Queen, and really, you know what? All of us have been truly blessed today. Because we've been in the presence of something very special. Very special indeed. A once-in-a-lifetime racehorse. I mean, all of us have dreamt of, God, wouldn't it have been good to see Far Lap? You would have done anything to see Far Lap. Well, we are seeing the modern Far Lap today. There's never been a horse but him have such an impact on all of us. Let's go to the presentation.
She came, she saw, and she conquered. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just seen the running of the 2013 Darley TJ Smith Stakes, won and how she won by Black Caviar, ridden by Luke Nolan for Peter Moody. It is indeed now my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce Mr. Henry Plumtree. Now, he is the Managing Director of Darley Australia, to conduct the presentation in the presence of the ATC Chairman, Mr. John Cornish.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chairman John Cornish and your committee, first of all, we must thank the ATC for managing to get to this day after a year and a half of building. A fantastic day, and I don't think anyone who's had a horse racing today would complain about the track. So John, your staff, yourself, a round of applause for the ATC staff for producing a wonderful facility and a great track. Ladies and gentlemen, I quickly want to say that we at Darley have had a stellar week. I want to thank all my staff, but particularly our thanks go to our boss, Sheikh Mohammed, for continuing to support the Australian operation to the level that he does. It's a great privilege to work for him, and we've managed to produce 4 Group 1 winners for him in a week, which has not been done before. So thanks to go to all of my staff, the training staff and the stud staff, for a job well done. But today's not about us. Today is yet another privilege for Darley to be involved with arguably the greatest race mare that we've ever seen. We did it 2 years ago when she was on the rise, and it appears today that she's still going up. It's most important when you have a horse like this that can pull people to the races. It is absolutely priceless for our industry. But the great thing about this mare is the people that are involved with her. Her leading owner, Neil Werrett, and his wife, Lena, are the greatest owners, right up there with the nicest people you could have met. Neil is a very humble, quiet man. They have a great group of owners behind them. And unlike a lot of good racehorses that I've been involved in, this one's cemented the friendship and not broken it up. Peter Moody is one of the great trainers of Australian turf. The boy from Roma, he's done very well. He used to train for Sheikh Mohammed, and he tells me that the box is still empty, waiting for the next one to come. But well done, Pete. It's a lot of pressure to bring a mare like that to the races 25 times, however many Group 1s, 16 I think it is. Well done. And to Luke Nolan, the man on top, one of the great pilots. He very rarely speaks, and when he does speak, you listen. Just a master craftsman under a lot of pressure every time he steps on this mare. Ladies and gentlemen, without much more ado, it is my great pleasure, on behalf of my boss, Sheikh Mohammed, to present the trophy to Neil Werrett and his owners for the win of Black Caviar and the TJ Smith.
Firstly, I'd like to thank the ATC. They've done a great job. Contrary to a few opinions early in the process, the ATC could not have done more for the group of Black Caviar. And to come here with the new stand today, and her represent Australian racing. It was just an honour to be part of it. And I'd like to thank the chairman, Darren and Matt Rudolph, who've been looking after us for the last few weeks. And it's not an easy thing to look after Black Caviar because of the entourage and the horse and the creation of what the horse does. And I think that's a great thing for racing, and we hope it continues. The sponsors, Darley, Henry, I'm sure that we'll be looking at some of your stallions come the right time. He has some great stallions, some great people at Darley. Darley are great sponsors of racing, and we've won a few of the Darley trophies, and we will continue to hopefully win a few more. But from the owner's point of view, we thank the sponsors, but particularly Darley today, and we'll be talking one day, maybe. In regard to the trainer, well, what can you say about an outstanding trainer like Peter Moody? I mean, he's got this horse to win 25 in a row. That speaks volumes for not only the horse, but also the trainer. And I think it'd be very difficult to get a horse like this to win 25 in a row. And Peter, all the owners, we really appreciate not only that, but all your friendship and guidance along the way. It's been a great voyage, and hopefully it will continue longer than today. So Luke's done also an amazing job on this horse to get on the horse with the pressure that he must face every day, and come here as relaxed as what he does. I don't know how he does it. So, you know, he's a bit of a nice man, the old Luke, and he must be chewing up the fags at the back. So the track people have got the track together today. Thank you again. And from all the owners from Victoria and New South Wales, we'd like to thank everyone for coming today and looking after us. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep your applause going. The man who has indeed masterminded 25 out of 25 for the mighty mare Black Caviar, the trainer, Peter Moody.
Mr. Chairman, committee, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of my team at Moody Racing, I'd just like to thank the wonderful support you've afforded our terrific girl here today in Black Caviar. It's been one hell of a ride. I'm extremely proud of her that we've been able to showcase her to you in Sydney. I know probably a great deal of you have had the opportunity to see a race before, but bring her to Randwick, which is certainly a home for a greater part of my life and where I learnt my trade and worked for the great TJ Smith, and to win a race named in his honour is certainly extra special. To Neil, Lena, all the owners here beside me, thanks very much. It has been a great ride. Let's hope it continues for a bit longer for all of us. Luke Nolan, tremendous job. A little bit against him there today, but got the job done again. To all my staff at home, tremendous effort. A special thanks to probably some of the unheralded people, Jason Kerr and his team at Caulfield, that allow us the wonderful facility to train this, and the staff at Rosehill that also. And very sorry to Barry O'Farrell. We won, Jimmy Cassidy didn't. I nearly hope you'd lose the next election, but I'm not that much of a doubter. All the best.
A little remark about the New South Wales Premier, who thought that maybe the big girl from Victoria could come here and they could lower her colours, but they didn't. Look, the official margin was 3 lengths. I think a lot of people noticed when Hamish went up to do the interview, Snowy got slightly injured, Hamish's horse. Snowy's with the vets at the moment, and he's going okay. He's in good hands at the moment. I know a lot of people out there have been asking us about that, so Snowy's in good hands. It was a remarkable day, guys. It really was, and lived up to everything, didn't it?
It sure did, and when Black Caviar comes to town, well, you know...
Would you please make welcome the chairman of the Melbourne Racing Club, Mike Simons.
Thank you very much, Jared. A very warm welcome, one and all, to quite an emotional day for the Melbourne Racing Club as we bid farewell to Nellie, to the champion mare Black Caviar, who's retired with a perfect record of 25 from 25, including 15 Group 1s. We're fortunate that today is happening at Caulfield, because we see ourselves at the Melbourne Racing Club as a small part of the Black Caviar story. We love the horse here. She's been here since her early days. When Peter Moody's wanted to gallop her in the reverse direction at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's never been a problem. All the other trainers have cooperated because we knew we had something special that was being trained here at Caulfield in Black Caviar. As I said, quite an emotional day for the club, but I'd like to pay enormous respect to Peter Moody and the team from Moody Racing, who have done an absolutely magnificent job in managing her career through 25 undefeated runs. It's been well documented that she's had some issues along the way, some slight setbacks with injuries, so a huge hog of a mare. To get her to the races 25 times in a row and to not come up short at all is just a phenomenal achievement. So to Peter Gordon Moody, all the team at Moody Racing, all his staff, to Luke Nolan, all the track riders, they're all part of the Black Caviar story, and they'll be long remembered with the memories of this mighty mare, that she will get better and better as her retirement lengthens, as most champions do. So at a time when racing needed to make front page news for all the right reasons, we were subject of intense scrutiny last year with some integrity issues, but it was Black Caviar who put racing firmly and squarely on the front and back pages of all newspapers and of all media bulletins, not just in Melbourne, but around Australia and around the world. Racing in Australia owes a lot to Peter Moody and what he's done with Black Caviar, and the Melbourne Racing Club would like to recognise that today in awarding this trophy to Peter Moody. So Pete, I'd like to ask you to step forward and accept this trophy, and congratulations on behalf of the Melbourne Racing Club.
Mr Chairman, committee, distinguished guests, the Honourable Dr Napthine, Mrs Napthine, ladies and gentlemen. What do you say? Have a look at her. I think she's leaving better than she came in. She's never looked bigger, stronger, happier or healthier. Her last win was probably better than the first. That's the way a champion deserves to go out. I'm just privileged that I've been able to work with such a wonderful horse, a wonderful group of people, the owners, all my staff, Donna Fisher, Paddy Bell, Tony Hayden, Jeff O'Connor, Dr Peter Angus, Michael Bryant, Matty Martin, the farrier, and others too numerous to mention. It's been one hell of a ride. You know, I'm really just lost for words, like I have been after probably our last 20 wins. Thanks very much for enjoying my little girl, and you know, it's just very fitting. I'm very grateful that you've all come out here to see her off. Thank you.
So well said by Peter and by everybody there with Black Caviar. Now we're going to go back there for the parade, but the next in Sydney is imminent, as you can see. So it's the tab.com.au handicap. Talked her down basically, and now he'll keep her as close as he can to the crowd. And it's a great turnout. It is a fantastic turnout for a meeting in April at Caulfield. So every picture paints a beautiful story, doesn't it? And just a magic moment. Lukey Nolan must be having a lot of strange thoughts on the back of her right now.
He's almost the most emotional of all the people connected to Black Caviar. Peter Moody, not a terribly emotional guy. Racing does tend to grind the emotion out of you. Donna, strapper, is very stoic lady. But Luke's a bit emotional, and that's understandable.
I caught the plane home with him last Saturday. He was on the same flight, and you know, it's fair to say Lukey doesn't mind his little VB. Doesn't mind a beer or two. He had a couple on the plane, and only one or two, but he was just relaxed by then, and it's good to have a walk with him to the car, you know, as we walked out of the airport, and he just said, you know, there was a big build up to this one. I knew I was under the pump a little bit. He said all I had to do is get it right the first 300, and to be honest, I'm glad it all worked out that way, because they actually got to see that the best horse, in his opinion, that he's ever ridden or ever seen, you know, get out of difficult situations or tricky situations or a complex case where they were out there to beat her, out there to attack her. So she was able to cop a bump, give Haylist one more on the way out, which he was the horse that tried to make it difficult for her in the first 300. And he said, but then when he was 3 deep and straightened up, he goes, it was all systems go. And she knew it, and as every time he's asked to press the button on this mare, she just lowers her head,
That's a great
stretches her
strength,
legs.
isn't it? That's a great strength. When he asks her to go, there's always that 2 or 3 lengths there. Well, we're not going to see it anymore. There always was the 2 or 3 lengths, and well, this is probably the last time we see her in the public arena.
With her silks on. I mean, the
Yes.
silks are going to be retired, aren't they? They won't be worn again. There's the famous salmon and black silks. Look, one of the things that it's sad, it is sad, there's no question about that, because we loved her so much, and she made us feel better. She enriched our lives, but you know, Simon got a connection with the half sister and the brother, etc., the half brother. Her foals are going to give us another connection to her. Her mother continues. Black Caviar could probably have 8 to 10 foals at her age if everything goes right. Her mum's probably got a 3 or 4 left in her. You feel like there's still going to be that connection with her. It won't be the same, I know, but we're still going to have a connection with her.
More to come in that regard. One thing you have mentioned there, Farlap came out of the Depression and lifted our spirits.
Yeah, for sure.
She came out of the GFC,
Yep.
and around that time, and she's lifted our spirits.
Is going to be Prince Philip in the mating barn?
Good
Who
question.
is it going to be? Will it be Piero? Could it be Piero? I mean, there's and so many great stallions. Fastnet Rock. You know, you've got More Than Ready. All these wonderful stallions that made names for himself. But you could imagine. Money going to have a little bit of fun with this now, Richard.
I've just been having a mental picture.
Ask for Black Caviar on a date. Where would you take her? How would you wine and dine her? Just before you decided to have children with her.
Yes.
I mean,
Don't
she's
quite
the
work
queen
like
of
that, you know.
I realise that, but the lucky boy that will be chosen, mind you, it'll be a marriage made in heaven, and we're really looking forward to that.
We are, and to commemorate this
You didn't
moment,
answer
as
me
Simon
question,
Seven Shops proud to release. I'm glad we stopped you there, Simon.
Yeah.
The famous and retired salmon silks in a deluxe presentation box. They're all signed by Peter Moody and also Luke Nolan. There's a booklet there, 28 page, and that number is 1300 676 020 or 7shop.com.au. So there she is, the one and only, and here's our tribute to Nellie.
Black Caviar's opening right up and living up to the very good trial. She's sprinting away for Jared Noski. And in the run home, Black Caviar won it by 4 to Quassa Quassa.
Double the romance. Double the action. Double the mystery. Double the heartbeat. Tonight Then he sees things a little differently.
Not everything's what it seems.
And isn't afraid to push a few buttons.
Coming to 2!
Lewis, after Heartbeat, tonight on 2.
I know what punters want. At tomwaterhouse.com, an all-day Gay Waterhouse money back special. If your horse runs second to one of Gay's at Randwick this Saturday, I'll give you your money back. Bet with me on your mobile at tomwaterhouse.com.
BMW presents One More Way to Love the Way You Move.
It's obviously a fantastic occasion.
And if you were walking onto the football pitch beside someone who looked as composed as Brown Panther at the moment, I think you'd be pretty happy.
I'd like to think that's how I used to walk out, but I was a little bit nervous. But no, it's a very different feeling playing football to watching your horse run. You felt like you were in control when you were playing football, but with your horse, I've got no control whatsoever. It's just fingers crossed and hope for the best.
And just finally, just a moment ago, I saw you standing there with your phone, just taking it all in. It is one of the most remarkable scenes in world sport.
Well, yes, I've been very fortunate, obviously, to play in some of the biggest stadiums in front of an awful lot of people, but you know, this really is special in terms of horse racing. The way the whole country and certainly the whole city get behind this race, you know, going on the parade yesterday and all the people here today, it's a phenomenal race, and you know, really proud to be here, to have a horse that's good enough to compete in is enough for me.
He's about to hear a roar with a difference when those gates crash open. Hamish, you're down there at the moment. I mean, are they far from the madding crowd? Is it quiet? Is it buzzy? What's the mood? What's the feeling?
Well, Mac, I would say the one word I would use to describe the mood right now is one of calm, because they've come from this extraordinary colour and noise of the mounting yard, and they're now just all walking around behind the barriers. There's a surprising tranquility amongst these 24 jockeys. They've all been here and done it before in these big races, but they're trying to keep their horses so relaxed. There's a little bit of discussion between the jockeys, some between jockeys and barrier attendants. They all wanting water when they got down here. But most of the conversation and the communication is between the jockey and the horse, just trying to keep their horses as unaffected as possible at this crucial time. They've come from this extraordinary environment. Right now it is the environment they're used to, and there's so many early mornings, so many highs and lows in this game, but they are all about to walk into the barriers. The stewards just said a minute or so, boys, come close. But what an opportunity. They're about to link up in the barriers, and
Hamish,
they're all going to be in this extraordinary race that changes so many lives.
Hamish, just a quickie, Trey Blue, he was playing up, number 23. Don't know if you can see him or not. I mean, hopefully he's settled.
He was here first. Tommy Berry brought him down. He would have been here maybe 2 full minutes before the rest of the field. I spoke to Tommy and I said, why are you here so early? Because I didn't see what you obviously saw. And he said he was just really playing up. But I'm staring at Trey Blue now. He's on a loose rein, ears pricked. There is no sweat at all on the horse. He looks an absolute picture, and he's been turned out beautifully, but he's just walking very relaxed now. And Tommy said, I'll bring him down very early and get him out of all of the hoo-ha.
Thanks, Hamish. Francesco, you're with your father, Luca Comani, the trainer of Mount Athos. He's travelled down to the post pretty well. All systems are about to go, Francesco.
Yeah, no, he looked great in the yard. He's gone down to post well. There's nothing more we can do, you can do. So it's all down to Craig now. He's got to try and navigate a good passage from barrier 22, and we can just keep our fingers crossed.
We've seen you there before in that very same spot. All the best to both of you and to your team, Paddy. It's been a funny betting race. I mean, Mount Athos has gone for a bath. I don't know if there's any money for him now.
No money, but money now for the favourite. Fiorente, $7.50 into $7. That means there's been quite a good plunge late on Fiorente. Your second favourite will be Dandino and Seamoon, both at $11. So it's double figures bar one, which is unusual to say the least. Mount Athos $11 to $13, and Faulkner at the $16 line with Hawk Spur. But Fiorente is your favourite and has firmed up in the last couple of minutes to $7.
There's a proof, Trey Blue, all right. We saw Jamie Spencer taking the weight off Dunedin from barrier 1 there. He was just about the first into the stalls with the top weight.
Well, they've got a fair weight before the last one comes in, but pace is going to be absolutely critical in this race. Who will take up the running? How fast will they go? Will that allow them to compete from the outside gates?
So we're just about set for the 2013 Emirates Melbourne Cup for his 33rd call, Greg Miles.
Nearly set to go. Fiorente the favourite. Here's Red Cadeau going in near the outside. And the last one up then will be Rossell, and will be right to go for Melbourne Cup. Emirates Melbourne Cup. Rossell moved in. And they're ready. Blue going up, and also Ibasenko. And Rossello's on the move across too with Trey Blue, and Mount Athos settling just off the leading bunch of horses. Faulkner's gone right back. He settled down last of all. So down towards the 2,700 metres now, and Rossello from wide out, and Trey Blue are going up with Brown Panther. They're the three early leaders. Dear Demi just in behind them, followed by Hawkspur. Green Moon's got over onto the rails, followed closely by Ibasenko. Mount Athos a little bit wide from Super Cool. Seville's down on the inside, followed by Murian on the outside of Dunaden and Red Cadeau. Sitting on Dandino, and they're followed then as they go out past the judge then by Fiorente in the middle. A length and a half to Barimba, being followed by Mars Marvel, and behind that one then came Belleurs de Coeur. They're being followed then by Royal Empire on the inside from Ethiopia, Fortella. They're being followed by Seamoon right back at the end, and Faulkner was last of all. So they're making their way along the side of the course now, and Rossello makes play. Trey Blue is up there in second placing as they run up the side. Brown Panther with a nice trail is down third on the inside. About a length and a half further back in the field then Dear Demi, who's along the inside rail, and over on the outside in a prominent placing Green Moon and Faulkner on the outside of those, and they're being followed then by behind those. Mount Athos has slid around the outside, and he's got up into about fourth placing, followed by Murian, and back behind him Seville on the inside from Ibasenko. Red Cadeau's on a very wide move, followed by Dandino as they go to the 1400. Simonon was next in the field, then followed by Super Cool, and then came Royal Empire, who's got away from the rail. Belleurs de Coeur, Ethiopia, Dandino the rail. Then came Mars Marvel, still well back. In the field came Sea Moon, and behind him is Fortella, and Faulkner's last of all. Rossello the leader, about 1,100 metres left to go in the cup. It's Rossello leading by a length and a half to Trey Blue, Brown Panther, and Mount Athos in fourth placing. Closely being followed by Dear Demi on the inside, and Murian commencing a move. Then came Red Cadeau, Hawkspur, Green Moon the fence from Super Cool, Ibasenko. Then Seville strung up for a run on the inside as Simonon goes around the outside with Fiorente, and Ethiopia putting in runs as they sweep down towards the home turn. Well back, shuffle back with Seville. Dandino's amongst the end. Dunaden is back there with him as they come around the turn. Faulkner's made ground. He's gone right to the outside, and Sea Moon is coming with him into the straight now, and Red Cadeau and Simonon race up and go to the lead from Mount Athos down on the inside. They're followed by Fiorente starting to come home hard, and then came Super Cool and Faulkner down the outside. Red Cadeau tackled by Fiorente. Mount Athos kicking back on the inside. It's Fiorente in front on the outside with Red Cadeau. Fiorente and Red Cadeau from Mount Athos. Fiorente just in front of Red Cadeau, who's coming back. Fiorente by a neck. Oliver's lifting him, and Fiorente won the Melbourne Cup for Gay. Red Cadeau second, Mount Athos third. Simonon ran fourth, and Dandino fifth. They're followed by Ethiopia, Faulkner, Belleurs de Coeur, and Brown Panther from Super Cool. Further back in the field to finish then Dunaden, and they're followed by Seville, Ibasenko, and behind them is Sea Moon, and then Murian, Hawkspur, followed by Fortella, Dear Demi, Royal Empire, never a chance. Marks Marvel back towards the end. Dunaden is back in that bunch. A long break in the field, then to Green Moon, Trey Blue, and Rossello, one of the last home in the Melbourne Cup.
So where do you start? Is it Damien Oliver? Everything he's been through in the last 12 months and a third, or is it Gay? Everything she's been through. Her dad won too. She's the first female Australian to train the winner of the great race. Oh, what about the horse? Second last year to come back and do it again. Empire Rose and Gold and Black. It's so hard to do. There she is, the first lady of racing in the world. Conquers the biggest mountain imaginable by winning her first Emirates Melbourne Cup.
The great decision she made was to put Damien Oliver on the horse. I'm not saying that any other jockey would have ridden it any worse than Damien, but he is a master in these situations. He is the coolest head in Australian racing, and he rode a beautifully cool race. He moved into the race at the right time, and he let the horse go at the latest possible moment, and that's what's won him the race. If he'd let it go earlier, he mightn't have won.
Well, two men who between them have won 5 Melbourne Cups have a little embrace there, John Letts and also Damien Oliver. Well, you spoke to him a long time ago, Letts. He had the flowing locks as a kid on Doremus, and he's come back and won a third.
Well, Bruce, Damien's always been one of the most popular jockeys in Australia. 3 Melbourne Cups, Damien. Today must rate up with the best of them. I know there was emotional ones and there was, you know, other ones that you just went out there and you won it. You think I've won another Melbourne Cup. Today you've made it 3.
To help bring home the first one.
Damien, it's always a satisfaction of, you know, having, you know, won a race for some of the big trainers, isn't it, as well? And Gay, as you know, she's been very loyal to you through a lot of, you know, a lot of things you've been through recently, but she's the one that said, he's the best rider in Australia and I want him.
Yeah, look, Gay was one of the first people to really get behind me when I came back. And, you know, look, I can't thank her enough for helping me get going again. And we have been a great team together. And you know, we've had a little bit of luck in bits and pieces over our career, but there's nothing better than winning this one, mate.
There's nothing better, and this is the one at the top of the tree, isn't it, Damien? You can win 100 races a year, but someone says, what's the best one?
Yeah, well, you can look back on that crowd now, and
you've got about 110,000 people there saying that we want a part of you.
It's every jockey's dream come true. My family's here today.
Oh, that's great.
So it's great to have the kids here, my wife, and you know, it's a really special moment.
And you know, special too, Damien, we're trotting past the track attendants there and saying, good on you, Ollie.
Yeah.
That's your popularity, mate.
Thanks, Nate. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and good luck, mate. And I'll be interviewing again one day. I'm sure we will. Congratulations, buddy. Go for it.
Well done to Damien Oliver, and the winning trainer, Gay Waterhouse, has just made the March of Triumph your biggest moment. What about that?
Oh, didn't he ride him a treat? Honestly and truly, he got back to about 12th, and it was quite a solidly run race, and then he just kept trekking up, and oh look, it was just fantastic. It was a dream come true. I'm so thrilled for all the owners. I'm so thrilled for all the people that come up to me every day and say, oh, good luck, Gay. They're the people I'm so thrilled for. I'm just so thrilled for everyone. It's a great win.
I just watched you walk down from the members' stand where you watched the race, and the crowd just stood and applauded as you walked down. You mean a lot to Australian racing.
I love racing, and I love people being involved with it, and no one does it better than the VRC promoting the Melbourne Cup, and what a fabulous race. It's a race that stops the nation. Isn't it nice to have a favourite that can do that?
And you've been so close so many times. Now you... Not today, baby. Now, wait a minute. Hang on. Before you go, Gay, what about the fact that you've done what TJ was able to do twice? What does that mean to you today?
Well, I've got to do it again, haven't I?
Well done.
That's Gay, eh? I've got to catch up to Dad. It's a remarkable... Ollie was on the front page of the papers on Melbourne Cup Day last year. He's going to be on the front page tomorrow for so many very different reasons. It was a magnificent ride. It was a great win by a great horse. It was a great battle all the way up that Flemington Straight. Recado refused to yield, and Mount Athos kept kicking on. So 3 horses we've got to know so well on this day. Triumph here, 1, 2 and 3.
Well, there was good speed going out of the straight with Vasallo for the first time, and Hawkesbury went forward with Dear Demi, Green Moon settled close enough. But Damien was just cool, calm and collected with his very good barrier draw. He locked the horse away. He got tugging a little bit on the bridle at around the 1200 metre mark when a couple went around him, and that was Simonon 3 deep. But what he does best from the 800 metre mark to the top of the straight is pick the path where he loses no momentum. Glenn Boss very similar on the Great Mackay Diva, but he's done it on 3 different horses, win 3 Melbourne Cups, Damien. He popped out at the top of the straight, and then he sat and he waited.
So there's Gay down there with Ollie. So 98 Group 1s, 10 majors, the first jockey ever to get to 10 majors, one more than Neville Selwood, but most of all, 3 Melbourne Cups. He's up with Bossy, he's one shy of the all-time record. But this, for what's happened with he and Gay over the last 12 months and with this horse, this is a remarkable story at Flemington today.
Yeah, and you know, Trish, his wife, and the 3 kids that we hear today, you know, he lives racing, he's born and bred in the game. Damien lost his father, as we know, at a very young age in a race fall. He lost his brother Jason a week prior to Media Puzzle winning the Cup. Some thought he'd never ride that week leading into the Cup. But he said, look, Jason had want me to ride, so I'm going to ride, and he was cool, calm and collected. Let's ride to Pete Donegan with the champ right now.
Thank you, Simon. Damien Oliver, if they'd written a script for that race, it just panned out perfectly for you.
Yeah, it was amazing. It's a bit like having a Christmas present, not being able to open it. I've been really excited about riding this horse and just trying to keep a lid on it, but you know, they went really hard early, and I wanted to be closer, but we're just going to have to be forcing him to be there. So just let the pace go and let him be happy. And he moved into the race beautifully on the turn, and it was just a matter of holding him off, and he was too strong.
Did you count to 10? What was going through your mind at the top of the straight?
Well, you know, I was a fair way back, and before I knew it, I was right on top of him on the turn. It all changed complexion very quickly. I knew I had Red Cadeau still in front of me. I knew he was going to take me a fair way. But when you're in front, that last 200 seems to take forever in that Melbourne Cup.
Racing has great moments, highs and lows. In the lows, were you determined that this moment would occur again?
Oh, you never know, mate. Nothing's a given in this game or anything, you know. I was just determined to work hard when I came back, and, you know, I feel very fortunate someone like Gay got behind me. And, you know, what a great honour to win her first Melbourne Cup for her.
And what about you? 98 Group 1 wins, you're up with the greats now, 3 Melbourne Cup victories, you're right up there in the upper echelon. You have been for a long time, but this cements it now. Yeah,
look, it's nice to be back doing what I love, and, you know, when you're out there on that track and you look back at this crowd and see what it means, it's just an amazing race, and I just couldn't be more happy to win it again.
3 very different emotions in 3 Melbourne Cup victories. You're a champion. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
And the last time he won, they made a Hollywood movie, eh? The last time he won the Melbourne Cup with Media Puzzles.
That's the mark of Damien Oliver. It doesn't matter what they put in front of him. He seems to be able to concentrate on the job at hand. And his ride here was exceptional. Here he comes. You see him in the black colours on the outside here. He knows he's getting to the front now, and that's tricky. When you get to the front, can your horse hold off? Red Cadeau inside him in the red and blue colours just fought like a caged lion and would not lie down. But Ollie, he just saved enough. Over the last 50 metres, he was able to just forge clear.
He did by about 3/4 of a length. Red Cadeau second again. Mount Athos running his heart out for third. So 5th last year, 3rd this year. Francesca, you were with your father. He was there. He was just behind Red Cadeau here. He had a fight here, and he did fight hard, your horse. Fiorente's about to go to the front.
Well, first of all, that was a phenomenal achievement from Fiorente. What a horse he is. Got to say, I was watching Mount Athos most of the race with my dad. The atmosphere was just electric, but Mount Athos, he was so tough because he sat about 4th throughout most of the race. In front of him was Rossello, Tree Bleu and Dear Demi. They've all fallen back to finish amongst the back markers. He's the only horse of the leaders that kept up there and managed to fight it out all the way to the finish. Red Cadeau, what a huge performance. And then, just look at it, Fiorente, so that's a win for Gay for Australia. And then in 2nd international, 3rd international, 4th international and 5th.
And if you count Fiorente as a former European horse, it's English horse's first 5 over the line. The first Australian horse over the line has finished 6th, which is Faulkner, the Caulfield Cup winner. So the internationals are still dominating us one way or another.
He got back to last Faulkner. He was shuffled right back. Nick Hall had no option but to ride him quiet. He did run the 3,200 metres out. His sectional times will be good, but he was just given really no hope that far behind him. Here's Gay and the team. Philip Policina in the glasses on the left. He's one of the owners there who purchased this horse. They paid a fair bit of money for him to bring him over from Europe just to run in the Melbourne Cup last year, where he ran 2nd for the first time under Gay's care. There's a big throng. They'll celebrate hard tonight. And boy, oh boy, you know, there's no greater promoter of our game than the First Lady of Racing in Gay Waterhouse. And it's just a sweet touch that she mentions all the public that approach her on the streets and say, good on you, Gay, hope you win your first Melbourne Cup, because there's nobody in the game that works as hard.
It's a beautiful partnership. Ollie and Gay, for the first time here at Flemington. And Damien and Gay coming home a winner.
Pets and More, helping you care for your pets. Country Pets and More have a comprehensive range of animal feed and accessories. Dogs, cats, birds, horses, fish, even reptiles. Bert and Lena are there to help. Country Pets and More, Racecourse Road, Whyalla, more than just a pet store.
Barnacle Bill's signature bonus pack. Sumptuous fish, calamari, prawns, fishettes, tender chicken tips and tartare sauce. And a bonus 1.25 litre Coke. All for just $25.90.
Fresh from the sea, it's gonna be Barnacle Bill.
Boral have creative paving and retaining wall solutions for you. In courtyards, driveways and entertainment areas. So, do yourself a Boral paver.
Only at Piri and Whyalla Tile and Hardware Centre.
From wastewater to gardens, this shop's got the lot. For pool cleaners and pumps, there's one shop that's top. For rainwater tanks, there's only one shop. For everything water, see One Stop Water Shop.
Let rules put you in the driver's seat of your new Mitsubishi. Goyder Street, Kadina.
Hi, I'm Scarlett. My little brother Xavier helps Dad sometimes with the carpets and vinyls. There's loads to choose from and the prices are so cheap. If you need a new floor, you should really come and see our dad Steve at Discount City Carpets, Port Pirie.
Northern Caravan and Outdoor Centre stock a range of ready-to-buy caravans and campers. They have a large variety of spare parts and accessories to fit all makes and models. They can also supply and fit roll-out awnings. Northern Caravan and Outdoor Centre, Port Pirie.
Creative Home Image has much more than blinds for your home. Stylish, durable and energy efficient. The new Slide Track blinds with sunscreen or PVC will look great in your outdoor living areas. For the modern interior, Vertiglide, Duets, Panel Glides, Romans and new style shutters will enhance any home. We have roller, vertical and timber blinds to suit all budgets with awnings and roller shutters to protect your home. We service and repair what we sell. Call in and inquire today at Creative Home Image, Port Augusta.
Cash Classifieds. Make your will with Public Trustee in Whyalla, Port Pirie and Port Augusta in November. Phone 1800 673 119 for an appointment. Amber Joy Poulton as Loretta Lynn and Friends. Laura Civic Centre Hall. Saturday, November 9th, start 8 p.m. Tickets $20. Phone 8663 2614. For sale, one-stop takeaway. Secure lease, walk-in, walk-out. Established business and clientele. Phone Peter on 0419 817 489. $65,000. Reduce your electricity bill with Focus roller shutters. Huge savings for display homes. Phone 1800 818 815. FocusHomeImprovements.com.au. Want to get fit and active for free? Want to learn how to use fitness equipment? Come to the Whyalla Foreshore every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 9 a.m. start. Further info, contact Joanne at Whyalla City Council, 8640-3425. Free program. Azapati Butcher's Specials. Pork and pineapple sausages, $6.99 a kilo. Marinated Weber birds, $9.50 each. Azzo's Metware sticks, $10 each. Ox tripe, $8.99 a kilo. 8645-7173.
Back there with him as they come around the turn. Faulkner's made ground. He's gone right to the outside. And Seamoon is coming with him into the straight now. And Red Cadeau and Simenon race up and go to the lead from Mount Athos down on the inside. They're followed by Fiorente starting to come hard. And then came Super Cool and Faulkner down the outside. Red Cadeau tackled by Fiorente. Mount Athos kicking back on the inside. It's Fiorente in front on the outside with Red Cadeau. Fiorente and Red Cadeau from Mount Athos. Fiorente just in front of Red Cadeau, who's coming back. Fiorente below neck. Oliver's lifting him. And Fiorente won the Melbourne Cup again. Red Cadeau second, Mount Athos third.
Yes, getting home to win Fiorente for Damien Oliver, a third cup for Gay Waterhouse. Comes just the fifth horse to run second and come back the next year to win. The first was Carbine, who's a very, very famous horse in Australia. And the most recent was Empire Rose in 1988. So it's tough to do. He did do it. Notice Gerald Mosse gave Red Cadeau the biggest pat there when they went over the line when he finished second.
He was stuck three deep, Red Cadeau, facing the breeze the entire way. He was travelled right up into the straight, and Jared, you can just see, good on you, big fella. You've done a good job today to carry me around here.
He's been an incredible servant for his owner because he's in 3 trips here to the Melbourne Cup. He's amassed over $2 million in prize money, as well as all the money he's won all over the world. What an incredible old servant.
For sure, but it's this fella's day today. I mean, he emerged last year. We'd never seen him before when he came to Flemington. and finished second in that cup, and then today comes back to win. So he's the favourite. So the $7 basically favourite. The first favourite to win the Melbourne Cup since Mackay beat Eva in 2005. Red Cadeau second again. So he's one of 3 international horses to be placed twice. Vintage Crop, Persian Punch and Red Cadeau are the 3 to finish in the top 3. Man Athos is third as we go down to Sandy Roberts for the presentation.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes dreams, as we've seen already in this carnival, do come true. And this afternoon, once again, we have seen another fairy tale evolve. What a Melbourne Cup it has been for Emirates in 2013. And this presentation might not be all that easy because we've got a lot of very happy winners on the stage and around us as well. But on the stage is the chairman of the VRC, Mr. Michael Byrne, who has escorted the Premier, the Honourable Dr. Dennis Snapthine, and Mr. Barry Brown, who is the Divisional Senior Vice President, Commercial Operations East for Emirates Airline, our major sponsor. It's great to have you once again. That partnership with Emirates now spanning a decade. It is wonderful news. And now I'm going to ask, if it's at all possible, Michael, for your wife Fiona Byrne to escort Peggy Napthine to the stage, and there will be a presentation to be made. So good luck with that. And while that is occurring, it is my pleasure now to introduce the chairman of the VRC. Luckily he's close by, Mr. Michael Byrne.
Governor of Victoria, the Honourable Alex Chernoff, Premier of Victoria, the Honourable Dennis Snapthine, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little over 100 days ago, the Emirates Melbourne Cup Tour made a stop at a little place called Corumba. It's a small town in Queensland in the Gulf country. It has a population of 500 people. And that morning in Corumba, a grand total of 800 people got together in the presence of this beautiful trophy to my right to have morning tea. A great time was had by all, and in the process, $50,000 was raised for good causes. You see, the Emirates Melbourne Cup has this habit of bringing the community together to celebrate, to have great times, and in the process, some great things are being done for the communities of Australia. Our partner in delivering all of this is Emirates Airline, the principal partner of the VRC. And it's my great pleasure today to introduce my good friend Barry Brown, the Divisional Senior Vice President, Commercial East for Emirates Airline.
Thank you very much. The Honourable Dennis Napthine, Premier of Victoria, VRC Chairman Michael Byrne, to the VRC Board, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As principal partner of the Victoria Racing Club and title sponsor of the Emirates Melbourne Cup, we're very proud to be here today to celebrate not only a race that stops the nation, but a race that captures the attention of the world. In our 10th year as title sponsor of the Emirates Melbourne Cup, the race again provided an exhilarating equine contest and equally exciting atmosphere at Flemington. And I guess that can be evidenced by the amount of people on stage here. Emirates remains committed to the Australian market, continuing to grow our investments and our sponsorship portfolio here. In October, we launched our state-of-the-art A380 aircraft service out of Brisbane, adding to our daily A380 flights out of Melbourne and Sydney, offering an unparalleled flying experience. I'm also pleased to stand here today and a little proud, I guess, to say we've just been voted the best international airline serving Australia. And this was voted by the Travel Agents of Australia at the 2013 National Travel Industry Awards. And we intend to stay as close to the top of that voting that we can in the future. We're also very pleased to continue our groundbreaking and global partnership with Qantas. And this strengthens our commitment to offering more customers locally and globally. We now offer Australians increased frequent flyer benefits and access to more than 130 destinations around the world, including 35 destinations in Europe, one stop from Australia. My congratulations today to Fiorente and its connections. Your win has placed you in esteemed company in the history books of this great race, and we're pleased as Emirates to be a part of it. I'd now like to hand over to the Honourable Dr. Dennis Napthine, Premier of Victoria, to present the trophies.
Thank you very much, Barry. Can I acknowledge His Excellency Alex Chernoff, Governor of Victoria, Mrs. Elizabeth Chernoff. Can I especially acknowledge Mr. Michael Byrne, Chairman of the VRC, and Mrs. Fiona Byrne, and all the directors of the VRC. Can I pay special recognition to Barry Brown and Emirates and many distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, can I congratulate the VRC for another magnificent Melbourne Cup and a great Melbourne Cup Carnival. Fantastic day on Derby Day on Saturday, an even better day here at Melbourne Cup today. Can I thank Emirates for their ongoing support and sponsorship for the Melbourne Cup, and can I thank the other sponsors who support the Spring Racing Carnival. Can I say a very, very special thank you to the magnificent crowd here today, particularly those who've travelled from interstate and overseas. This is a massive event for Melbourne and Victoria, and certainly the visitors from interstate and overseas are most valued in our community. Finally, and most importantly, I congratulate the connections of Fiorente for a magnificent win in the 2013 Melbourne Cup. Can I congratulate Damien Oliver for a fantastic ride? Can I say special congratulations to Gay Waterhouse, the #1 lady in racing. And it's my pleasure to ask Andrew Roberts, representing the connections and representing the owners, to come and accept the 2013 Melbourne Cup.
Governor and Premier of Victoria, Mr. Michael Byrne, VRC Chairman and Directors of the VRC, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. What a thrilling and exciting moment for a group of owners that I represent today in Fiorente. I feel like I've been swept up in an avalanche of adrenaline as I saw Fiorente tearing down the straight there. The build-up ahead of this race is astonishing. Just to have a horse in this great race is a special privilege. To win is beyond contemplation and expectation. This is a moment of a lifetime for us. The Melbourne Cup is one of the greatest sporting events of the country. The VRC is to be congratulated for their splendid vision to turn this into a race of international standing, and thank you, Emirates, for your sponsorship and your contribution to racing. From the moment these fine horses burst through the barriers at the start of the race, they are ridden by bold and talented jockeys. It is a field of the highest quality, with talent abounding on hoof and in stirrup. Run to champions all, run 24 times, the race could have produced a different result each time. But thankfully, today, fortune has favoured Fiorente and rewarded us with a moment to treasure. Fiorente is a champion, a nation's champion who's proved himself worthy of the steam company. He certainly looks the champion, a powerful horse, a black beauty, muscle-bound, and with his huge lunging stride in full flight, he carries himself in regal majesty. The champion in the stirrup was, of course, Damien Oliver. And Damien, I know this is a special race for you, and I want to thank you and say how happy we are for you to win your 3rd Melbourne Cup
And your last, of course, on Media Puzzle. Thank you, Damien. Thank you for an outstanding ride. Fortune may have favoured Parente today. However, there's one aspect in which luck played no part, and that is in the training of the horse. Gay, I'm so delighted to see you finally win and achieve success in the Melbourne Cup, which has eluded you till now. It is hard to imagine anyone more deserving. Your boundless energy, enthusiasm and commitment proves an exemplary inspiration to us all. On behalf of all the owners, I want to sincerely thank you and salute your achievements here today. You are a wonderful ambassador of racing. And thank you also to all your hard-working staff, the strappers and the track work and the race day riders, everyone who's contributed in such a material way to Parente's success today. And it's also worth noting the crucial role that Robbie Waterhouse played in this win today. Robbie's expert judgment, pouring through countless of videos and form analysis, and there's no greater judge, I believe, and thanks also to James Heron and Bruce Slade for playing your part in this as well. I must thank some dear mates, David Deacon and Jack Bongiorno, for granting me the opportunity to join a wider group of owners, and what a great bunch they are. The experience is a richer one to share together. It is one that we've talked about, we have dreamt about, but now to be finally here, it is very exciting. And finally, I'm very lucky to have my brother and sister with me today. For my part, I want to acknowledge my late father, who was a passionate thoroughbred horse breeder, racing enthusiast, and made a big contribution to racing administration throughout his life. Thank you all.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, to the winning trainer. And once again, I'll invite Mr. Barry Brown to come forward to make that presentation of the trophy to the Queen of the Turf in Australian racing. Ladies and gentlemen, with her first Melbourne Cup, Gay Waterhouse.
Thank you to the VRC. Thank you to Emirates Airlines for sponsoring the race. Without them, nothing like this would happen. Thank you to my owners who stand in front of me down here and all around me for making it happen also. To Damien, you steered him a treat. It was absolutely joyous to watch. It's always the trainer can say that after you win, but I love the way you knew in your mind exactly where you were going to be, and that's exactly what happened. To the horse, well, he's a pleasure to train. Since the moment he stepped foot in Flemington exactly a year ago, he's never disappointed us. To my darling husband, Rob, who stands here with me today, I wouldn't be where I am today without him. To James Heron, who secured the deal, because all deals have to be secured when you're buying racehorses. And to everyone here today, you've enjoyed, as I hope, as much as we are, the moment. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Gay. And now to the winning jockey. It's been a rocking and rolling season for this man, but a couple of words spells it all out for him. He's back. Ladies and gentlemen, Damien Oliver.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Ladies and gentlemen, the VRC, first of all, I'd like to thank Emirates for their ongoing sponsorship of this race. It's no doubt become one of the greatest races in the world. To all the owners, thank you for the opportunity to ride this horse. My first ride on him in the Melbourne Cup, and I couldn't be more thrilled to win it. Thank you so much. To Gay Waterhouse, we all know what a trailblazer she's been in racing, and I couldn't be more thrilled to to share in her first Melbourne Cup. She deserves it so much. She's done so much for racing, and congratulations, Gay. To my family who've been right behind me all throughout my career, my lovely wife Trish and my 3 children, thanks for being there with me all the way. I'd also like to thank Nash Rawiller and Blake Shin, who played a part in riding this horse on the way through his campaign. Unfortunately, I didn't have the ride today, but they certainly played a part in getting this horse here today, so thanks, guys. And also the biggest thanks to the crowd here today and Fiorente. Couldn't done it without him. Thank you.
So Damien Oliver there, Damien Oliver mentioning Nash Rawiller, who had ridden the horse, including the Turnbull Stakes, and then was sacked or replaced by Damien. Damien couldn't ride him in the Cox Plate because of suspension, and then Blake Shin came back. And today Ollie becomes the 8th jockey to win a Melbourne Cup at least 3 times. It's a famous victory. It's Oliver and Waterhouse, and it's Fiorente. Back from second last year to first. It takes a special horse to do that, and that's just what he was today, beating an old warrior in Red Cadeau and another Melbourne Cup favourite in Mount Athos. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that. It was a Melbourne Cup of great drama with a really satisfying finish. Let's go for a ride with a past Melbourne Cup winning jockey Corey Brown, and he's on Super Cool for Mark Kavanagh.
Well, this is a great feeling for a jockey to bounce out of the gates. You can't win it, but you sure can lose it here in a Melbourne Cup. And what Corey's looking to do here is just to sit back. Green Moon's on his left-hand side there. Dear Demi goes forward. Brown Panther back on his left-hand side. And it looks like Ivachenko rolling forward. Really good hard speed here. He's trying to... This is about the 800 metre now, so we switch forward. He's got Red Cadeau in front of him in the red cap, just smoking the pipe, just wanting to balance right up. Mount Athos back in behind them, wanting to come from behind. And you can see Simonon just creep up outside him now. Michael's obviously struggling to go with Red Cadeau. And you've got Ethiopia on the right-hand side, who just makes a little stint. Mount Athos sneaks up on the inside, and there goes Fiorente. Michael here's just struggling to keep up with Red Cadeau, who he tried to tack onto. Fiorente goes bang, and this is where they space.
So Corey Brown riding hard here on Super Cool. He finishes in 9th position. He gave him a pretty good ride, didn't he?
Oh, he gave him a brilliant ride. He was in the right position behind the leaders, getting a good bit of cover, but just when the pace came on, he didn't quite have that turn of foot to go with the leaders. Fascinating view from this jockey camp to see the winners going away from him.
Yeah, no, brilliant, absolutely brilliant, that jockey cam. So 3 races still to go. Fashions on the field and all the emotion following the 2013 Emirates Melbourne Cup.
Found in the same weird way.
We're looking for a killer.
Tomorrow, Susan Boyle delivers her first Aussie TV performance on The X Factor.
As Australia decides the final 4, will the result be an even bigger shock? Mel B's the wild card.
I may not have any act. I still have a vote.
The X Factor, tomorrow on 7.
Hyundai believes there is a difference between making cars and making cars that make a difference. Hyundai. New thinking. New possibilities.
Their mission was classified.
It's a brave thing you're doing. I'm not brave. I'm terrified.
Their target, a Nazi killer.
We take him back alive. We show the world what he did.
Now, to find the truth,
We followed. Oh, God.
she will have to go back.
Why did he do it?
It's not over!
We have to deal with it.
The Debt, only at the movies November 10.
You know, there are still a few legends around Adelaide, like the Posture Care Company. Maybe they're even more famous than me. Nah, they don't have a photo with you-know-who. Famous for their perfectly comfortable chairs that are tailored exactly to fit your body, with a 100% comfort guarantee and for their $400 trade-in offer. So check out the famous tailor-made Posture Care chair at their showroom or use their shop-at-home service, 8361 3344.
It's Adelaide Arcade. It's beautiful.
It's for everyone.
And it's classic.
It's Adelaide Arcade.
It's the way shopping should be.
Sophistication. It's the best arcade in the city.
It's Adelaide Arcade.
It's totally unique to Adelaide.
It's style.
It's the way shopping should be.
It's Adelaide Arcade. Experience Adelaide Arcade.
We all know what it's like to boil in summer. But with the right advice from an industry expert, you could be relaxing in year-round comfort. The Panasonic Specialist Air Network are a team of experts in air conditioning and provide specialist advice with solutions specifically designed for your whole home, all backed by support from the trusted Panasonic brand. The Panasonic Specialist Air Network, the experts in air. Call today and relax in comfort. Panasonic, air conditioning for life.
Pain affects thousands of Australians every day. With its unique coating, Heron Gold dissolves quickly into your system to eat up pain fast. So go for gold. Australian-made Heron Gold, Australia's solution for rapid pain relief.
You going for a workout, babe?
Nope, I sold all this on Gumtree.
No! Wait, that's... Oh.
Turn your stuff into cash. Get onto Gumtree today.
Check out the captain's hot deals of the week at Flight Centre, like Bali. Flights and 4 nights villa accommodation from $1,265. Kuala Lumpur. Flights and 4 nights from $1,275. Bangkok. Flights and 4 nights from $1,329. And we'll beat any airfare quote or you fly free.
Call now, 131 600.
The phone's been disconnected, and she's all alone.
Don't underestimate your imagination, Val.
My imagination?
A Ruth Rendell mystery. Vanity Dies Hard. Wednesday, 8:40 on 2.
Every curve, every contour, every hair. Philips Senso Touch 3D, our most advanced shave yet. Try the Senso Touch 3D with gel for the ultimate shaving experience.
The world's toughest rally needs the world's toughest support vehicles. New Volkswagen Amarok. Tested by Dakar.
your sports bike as often as you'd like? With Swan Insurance, you can choose a level of cover that suits you. Swan Insurance, the rider's choice.
Really had the pace. He had great speed all weekend.
So Simoncelli may have picked up a spot, but once again, a podium and a victory elude the Italian as we check the team's points here. But the talking point will be the incident at the very beginning, the unfortunate contact with Jorge Lorenzo and what will transpire in the wake of that. What did you think of the incident? And
the racing incident, you know, it's a Assen, you know, as a rider, he knows, you know, he was the guy that didn't want the softer tyres. We know the left-hand side of the tyre is going to catch it. Assen.
In order to convert in the manner that Ben Spies has finally done here today, what has Simoncelli got to do in your view?
Stay on board.
Yeah, pretty simple. We're waiting for the podium to get underway here. As you can appreciate, there's a fair amount of interest.
Modest guy, and you know we see smiles there, but you know it's a shame we probably don't see more from him. But that's just his personality. He's certainly soaking in it and loving it, but he's just very modest.
It's almost as though at times he hasn't stopped to smile and soak in the moment. That'll be different now, given that it is a Grand Prix win. But you know, there were times, I guess, there in his debut season in the Premier class last year, his first full season, where you thought, hey, you know, just take a moment here because you're in the Premier class. But for him, it was about more than that. Yes, there is the modesty there, but he's just got this way about him. He's absolutely, you know, the determination is second to none. So in a week's time, we head to Italy. It's another famous stop on the calendar, the Mugello circuit. Rossi, of course, last year, this was the game changer for him in MotoGP. And as he detailed in our coverage prior to the race this evening, he's already cut some laps back at the Mugello circuit. It hasn't worried him at all. He's looking forward to getting the Ducati out there and hopefully having a good result. But the Honda and Stoner, Casey Stoner, should be incredibly strong at that venue, you would think.
Yeah, they'll be really fast. You know, Casey's had good success at the circuit. He's very quick there. And I love Mugello. It's one of my favourites. I like the Dutch TT as well, but I'm really excited about Mugello.
What do you reckon's going through Marco Simoncelli's mind right now?
Oh, he'd be gutted, frustrated that he's made a silly error. And, you know, it's an error that, you know, as I said, everyone knows the left-hand side of the tyre there's going to try and sneak up on you in the early laps, and it got him by making that move on Lorenzo. Hindsight's
always a wonderful thing. Should we have had those Bridgestone softer tyres brought in for the race?
I don't think so. You know, we saw some of them run with the softer front tyre, which they hadn't done through practice and qualifying. You saw the tyres tear up in some of that slow-mo shots. We saw Kel's tyre tear up. So they did run the compromise and run the softer front tyres, but you know, it's what Bridgestone brought, and the race result was still pretty much the same for everyone.
While we're looking ahead to the next GP, before we do that, let's in fact go to the top three now.
The podium finishes then in the Iveco TT Assen after that really tough race in those tough conditions. We'll start with our new Grand Prix winner, Ben Spies. Congratulations, Ben. It's Yamaha's 50th anniversary here, new livery and all, but for you, what's it like to stand on the top step of a Grand Prix podium for the first time and hear that national anthem?
It's